raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles and warm woolen mittens, brown papered packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things.
We were somewhere in the internet, on the edge of YouTube, when the trip reports began to take hold. All right. Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Monkey.
And welcome to our combined Las Vegas / Broadway trip report. It's Fear and Loathing in New York, New York. I'm so proud of that title. I'm so proud of it. I'm unreasonably proud of it. All right, so Monkey, you went to New York, Broadway specifically, of course, about a month ago at this point?
Pretty
much. A couple
much.
Months ago?
It was April, yes. So about a month and change,
okay.
A week or whatever.
And it was your first time back in a while, so it was kind of a big event.
Yeah.
And then I just recently, as in like 3 days ago, got back from my first time in Vegas.
Yes.
So yeah, we figured, there's New York in Vegas. That's about the only logical reason why we're doing this, but I just didn't have time to do a trip report with you before my trip, so that's why we're doing this, actually. All right.
Yeah. I'm sure there'll probably be some other similarities between our... What's the word? Visitations?
It's literally just New York, New York. That's it.
No, I think there's one or two others.
Fair enough. Okay, so yeah, let's get things started with the pre-trip prep and whatnot. I'll go first, but Monkey, we're just going to kind of ping pong back and forth here.
Yes.
So yeah, for me, I was the big thing that put Vegas on the map for me as a place that I did want to get to is Omega Mart. Once I learned about Omega Mart, I was like, okay, yeah, I am definitely going to go there at some point in my life. And so that being said, I definitely it's funny because the first thing that my grandma and I ended up talking about potentially doing, and the thing that I kind of sold her on, was David Copperfield, of all things. Something that obviously we didn't even end up going to, which I just think it's funny in retrospect. Like, for those early weeks planning the trip, we were like, oh, hell yeah, I don't care how bad the reviews are, we're doing David Copperfield. But no, the reviews, once I actually looked into it, were too bad. I don't care how fun Podcast The Ride says that show is. And let's be clear, Podcast The Ride is the only reason that show was even on my radar to begin with, all right? But, all right. And Kogias, Slasher Fred, don't worry, Kogias, don't worry, this is not actually a review of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. This is a trip report, so, yeah, you don't have to see the movie to get into it. All right, so Monkey, as you know, I, for my preparation, outside of my usual, just like devote my life for like 3 months into researching every element of it, like I usually do.
I kind of know that feel.
Yeah, I need to be a travel agent one day. That's kind of my dream job. Outside of that, my big prep work was watching Vegas movies. So let's see. Out of the ones that I did get around to, Ocean's 11 was fucking delightful, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I did as a kid. It's kind of funny how a movie that's kind of like aimed at adults actually like appeals to me as an adult more than it would as like a 14-year-old or however. I think I was younger than that when that movie came out. I think I was like 12. What the hell was I even what the hell was I even doing seeing that movie in a theater when I was 12 years old? I don't even know.
You were sitting in a seat. That's what you were doing.
Right. Let's see. What else did I catch up on? I mean, obviously I watched the Rugrats special a couple times.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's got to be like standard viewing for anyone going to Vegas. Even cynical ass adults who didn't grow up with Rugrats. It just puts you in the mood. And then of course I watched Leaving Las Vegas, which that was definitely a good one to watch as far as like, okay, I definitely don't want to drink on this trip. And then Casino, which was fucking amazing and honestly one of my all-time favorite Scorsese movies now. It might be my favorite Scorsese movie. I really love that movie.
Okay, that's piquing my interest a bit.
Oh yeah, I would highly recommend it. Definitely the best Joe Pesci performance that I have seen.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So, for me, it was all about kind of like getting familiarized with the classic iconography and then also sort of like the intention of, okay, how familiar is this stuff going to be? How different is it going to be? Because Vegas is obviously a city that is constantly changing. I mean, obviously, just in the past year, the skyline changed dramatically with the Sphere. Like, that is just a huge... Yeah, that's a huge addition to the Vegas skyline that just was not there before it opened, obviously. And yeah, I gotta say, for me, the big highlight, one of the big highlights of the whole trip, honestly, was just the arrival. Monkey, I was fucking blown away by the arrival. I really was.
Right.
Because
you mentioned that.
What?
Yeah, you mentioned that in our chats before. Yeah. And I kind of know what you're talking about because, while I have technically been in the Vegas area, it's never really intentionally. Like, it was just for connecting flights.
But you did fly in and you did see how close you got to the Strip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea that the airport was that close to the Strip, my man. I had no fucking clue. You see, I'm used to like airports like San Francisco, where the San Francisco airport is still like technically within the city limits of San Francisco, but it's far out there. Like it's pushing Daly City, right? Whereas with Vegas, no, it's fucking right there. And seeing everything from the sky, seeing like the giant fucking neon billboards, it was a trip, and it definitely kind of whet my appetite. And also, my flight was delayed a couple hours. The connecting flight from Phoenix to Vegas was delayed a couple hours. So by the time I actually made it there, I remember like when I was about to board the plane in Phoenix, I messaged you guys. I was like, it literally doesn't feel real that I'm going to see the Strip in like 2 hours.
That feeling when it comes to vacations, am I right?
I know, right? Oh, God.
Or even the feeling of like, okay, I'm out of the airport and about to head to my destination, but I've just landed. I'm about to head to my destination, wherever, and it doesn't feel like you're in another state yet.
Well, for me, it definitely felt like I was in another state because of the slot machines in the, airport.
So, now you've gotten to see those for yourself.
Yeah. I will say, as far as the gambling goes, the first full night I was there, I put $50 into a slot machine, lost it all, never touched a single slot machine the entire rest of the trip. And I am proud of myself for that fact.
Yeah, you got it in.
Yeah, I got in just a little bit of video poker. That's it. That's all I needed. All right. So yeah, Monkey, what was your trip prep like?
Well, it's been some time. There have certainly been various times over the years, over the last, throughout the 2020s, where it's like, oh, that's a thing out there that looks cool. I wish I could see that. But I'm still pretty cautious in terms of like, the stuff going around airborne and whatnot.
Of course.
And I don't mean entirely the plane. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And then it gets announced there's going to be a revival of Doubt on Broadway. And yeah, that's we'll get to that later on, but yeah, that ended up being like, okay, I think I need to see this one. And at this point in time, I figure, okay, it looks like there's enough variables that are aligning in a way at this time that I think I can manage it. I can make the attempt. Yeah. like certain ways to do plane booking, be in there for not as long a time.
Sure.
Would be nice to have seen more. Like, there's certainly stuff I wish I could have seen, but also at the same. No, I'll save that for my observations and whatnot. But yeah, it is kind of interesting to think how this is like a second era of me going to New York. So, as some of you may or may not know, I've been 5 times in the past, like throughout the 2010s, and so obviously now we get this whole break here, and with a new world, new stuff is different. Some stuff is gone. Some stuff has been added. Phantom decided to leave. Yeah, it's not like I wanted that to be the first thing I saw post-shutdown. You've repaid me, denied me, and betrayed me. Yeah, it's also the first. Well, I already knew it was going to be the first time back since Avenue Q went away. It's funny. Even there's like a sort of poetry to this being the kind of like the start of a second era, because the days I went lined up on the same days of the week as the first time I went.
Like, that's kind of crazy that you even remember that.
Tuesday,
but that's
the
funny.
10th is a Wednesday, etc. What was that?
I said that's kind of crazy that you even remember that.
Well, yeah. It's I guess that's the sort of thing I would remember.
I remember
and
days,
also like
I don't think I'd remember like specific days as well. I don't know.
Maybe it's a little easier to remember when it's like, okay, saw this show on this day of the week, this on that day of the week.
Right.
And then what was it? And even like, so that Wednesday I miss out on a local screening of 12 Angry Men. Someday I shall get to that achievement, but not at this time. And but yeah, so in some ways it does feel kind of like going there for the first time again. In some ways, like, okay, like what was this thing? How was that thing going? But yeah, I made it out there for a couple or so days, and well, I think that's kind of most I have to say pre-trip for now.
Well, you talk a little bit about like did it feel like a big homecoming when you got there? Like a little bit of your
maybe in some ways. I think I'll save that for my next chapter as well. Like,
okay, that's fair enough. Okay. All right. Also, just going to shout out Claude, who asked about the gambling thing. Great to see you, buddy. Awesome to see you. Code Chaos, I did not watch the casino episode of Batman the Animated Series. Maybe I should have. Maybe that should have been on my list.
Oh yeah, and I also definitely did rewatches, by the way, like of New Yorkish things. And Short Circuit too, because I didn't realize it didn't actually take place in New York. Supposedly. I remember watching that and thinking, like, well, now I'm going to be disappointed when I don't see Johnny Five going around the streets, around on the sidewalks of the city.
The big thing that I did watch for the first time was the donkey episode of Father of the Bride. And I watched that as a palate cleanser from leaving Las Vegas, something that I'm very proud of. I think that's an excellent palate cleanser. All right. Let's see. Slasher Fred, I watched the Ocean's 11 reboot, the George Clooney version, not the Rat Pack version. All right. Yeah, honestly, like I need to see some of the like I really wanted to watch the Elvis movie, Viva Las Vegas. But I figured, with that and with something like the Rat Pack Ocean's 11, the town has just changed so much that it'd probably be just almost unrecognizable. So that's why I stuck to the mostly modern-ish side of things when it came to Vegas movies for my prep.
Yeah, I know I recommended Honeymoon in Vegas, which I don't think you watched, and you're probably not missing out on that much, honestly.
It just wasn't on any streaming services.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Although later on we'll get to
I'm pretty sure that
had the honey.
I'm pretty sure that I couldn't even rent it. I'm pretty sure it was one of those things where I could have bought it for like $15 on Amazon.
If it's on archive.org or anything.
Ooh, I did think of that.
Yeah. I mean, eventually we will get to the Broadway house that had the Honeymoon in Vegas musical, so there's that.
All right, so we're just going to switch off days.
Pretty much, yeah. Or, I'm putting my observations into one solo thing, so we're more evened out.
Gotcha. All right. So day one, it was a solo trip for me. Well, not a solo trip, but it was I was with someone that wasn't my grandma. I don't want to exactly say who it was, just be, anonymity and whatnot, just in case. But I was with a friend, and we went to the Pinball Museum, Circus, and of course, the Omega Mart. So I'm actually going to kind of go out of order here because I'm going to go from the worst to the best because holy shit, Rob, dude, if you go to Vegas, I'm just going to tell you right now, like, by all means, go do the SpongeBob ride just to say you did it. It's nice.
Yeah, that would be the reason I'd be going in the first place.
Right. Like, no, the SpongeBob ride, it exceeded my expectations in some ways. The only thing that I didn't like about it was the fact that the guns very much felt like oversized Wiimotes, and I'm pretty sure it just is using a technology that's similar to Wii. But the actual ride is pretty well done.
Yeah, it's funny. That's like the same analogy I would have made. Wii remotes.
Oh, you saw the guns?
Yes and no. I think I also know what type they're using.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think the Sesame Street ride in Spain uses the same type.
Wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, I will say, I think there's, as far as like the Midway Mania comparison, because that's obviously going to be the biggest comparison, I will say gameplay wise, it's not even close. Like Midway Mania just wins hands down. Midway Mania, that's the selling point of that ride, is the fact that the gameplay itself is so rock solid. Yeah. That being said,
tired after SpongeBob?
What? Sorry?
Does the SpongeBob gameplay tire your arms out as much?
You know what's funny is I don't really I as far as the tiring your arms out thing goes, yeah, Midway Mania does kind of, but I just remember how top heavy the guns on Berry Tales are, and I'm like, Midway Mania is like nothing compared to that. The motion of pulling the popcorn can be a little bit repetitive, but at the same time, it's so like, I don't know, I find it kind of satisfying.
I'm guessing also like the visuals on the screen of the ammo and whatnot.
Sure, right. That's one thing about SpongeBob that was not great, is the fact that it really was difficult to tell what the ammo was from player to player. Like, it is color-coded, but it doesn't show up that well.
Was it kind of like on Justice League?
Kind of, yeah. Probably a little better than Justice League, but kind of in that ballpark. But speaking of Justice League, though, I will say that much like Justice League, and even better than Justice League, this has a lot more physicality to it than I thought it would. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still like mostly screens. You're not like going to get like a full Dark Ride segment that doesn't have any screens in it or anything. But there's several animatronics. That's all I will say. There are more animatronics in the actual ride than just the Mr. Krabs out front. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I've heard there's like, 6 or so?
Something like that. I don't really want to count it for your benefit.
Okay. I have an idea what a couple of them are.
Okay. I'm sure you could probably guess at least one of them. I will say, Rob, there is one big thing that I wish I could spoil it for you. But I can't. But
okay.
But let's just say it's a game, and the humor of it is just fucking perfect. Like, the humor of it is like classic SpongeBob humor, and I loved it.
Yeah, you should be a travel agent.
That being said, Rob, by all means, please, if you go to Circus, the Adventure Dome is just not worth the money, man. Just don't do it. Just don't fucking do it. It's just not worth it. I am telling you right now. Dead ass serious.
I'm kind of not surprised, especially with the way it's priced.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, if it was like $30, fine. I'll pay $30 for a couple coaster credits, you know? But like, no, practically $60 for 2 coaster credits and some flat rides, and the coaster credits themselves are like both very unremarkable. Get out of here with that.
Yeah, you'd mentioned how rough they were. I was kind of surprised to hear that El Loco was rough.
I mean, of the two, El Loco was definitely the more tolerable, but let's just say it wasn't comfortable enough for me to want to rewrite it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, with El Loco, there was the factor of like, I just think that ride replaced the log ride, and I think that was a terrible business decision on that park's part, because frankly,
sort of shoot the shoots.
Yeah, well, yeah, shoot, not the log ride. Thank you.
Yeah.
But frankly, like El Loco is like it does not belong in that park. Like, it is way too intense of a coaster for the clientele. And because of that, the coaster just kind of sits there, and I felt kind of awkward even riding it, honestly. Okay, Monkey, I'm gonna kind of give you a little bit of an anxiety test. I'm wondering if you and I kind of have a similar thing, all right? If you're in a park...
Is this a circus thing, or... Because I have a question about that.
General theme park thing.
Okay, just because I have... Okay, go ahead and ask.
Okay, if you're in a park that is like so dead that they're literally not even cycling the coasters, they're just waiting for people to come on, does it give you a little bit of anxiety to even go on the coasters because you feel like you're bothering the employees?
I don't know if I've been in that situation, but I could definitely understand that feeling.
I feel like the closest situation is when you and I went to Magic Mountain a few years ago.
Maybe Castle Park has been a little like that.
Yeah, I could see Castle Park being like that.
Yeah, but why'd you have to get rid of Ghost Blasters, Castle Park? At least give us warning.
Magic Mountain is like, I do not care if it's like that, because I'm like, oh, hell yeah, these are world-class coasters that I can just marathon, dude. But that being said, I've been in that same situation with Discovery Kingdom. Discovery Kingdom, not nearly as world-class, so it's a little bit more of a, ooh, I'm sorry, I actually have to make you work now, I'm sorry. What was your circus question, though?
Just if you saw any glimpse of the circus acts inside.
I did not.
Okay.
Because after the Adventure Dome, I wanted to get the hell out of there. Yeah. Claude says, yes, it can make you feel like the employees are going to set you up for failure on the rides. Yeah, I'm just like, it's one of the things I'm literally like going through in therapy, like just this whole idea of like inconveniencing people. I need to get the fuck over it, honestly. But yeah, Adventure Dome was like dead. Like there might have been like maybe like 20 groups of like parents and kids there. Maybe. I will say the one thing about Adventure Dome I did genuinely like was the fact that with Canyon Blaster, you can get some really damn good pictures of it. The rock work is right there. The pathways pretty much go all around the coaster. So yeah, Rob, if you want to take some good pictures of a coaster that's going to give you a neck kink, go into the Adventure Dome. Big silly point.
I think I'll stick with SpongeBob and the circus act, thank you.
Yeah, probably wise.
Yeah, maybe do the slots on the rotating carousel platform that may or may not be working, but, you know.
Wait, I don't think that's there anymore, actually.
I know it was there somewhat recently. Maybe it's been turned off lately.
If you're thinking of the same one that they filmed the one scene in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas
I've never seen Fear and Loathing, so I can't go
Okay. I know there's a carousel bar on Fremont Street. I didn't see it, but I know it's there.
Yes. Yeah, you know, so I guess maybe they turned it off. I guess they'll turn it into another Star Wars launch bay.
Right. Okay.
Now I'm imagining Kylo Ren on a carousel. That's fine.
Well, just wait. Just wait, and Disney will come out with a commercial for that. Just wait. It's inevitable.
Or Kylo Cell.
Yes. No, I'm talking like, you know, they did that whole promotion where they had like Darth Vader riding a bunch of rides. So like, just wait. It's going to happen with Kylo.
I'm here to find the missing ingredient for Tiana's gumbo.
Oh God.
I mean, he lives right next door.
Oh man, we are going. I mean, I know obviously you're not going to look up the POVs, but we are going to have POVs of that ride in like less than a month, and I'm so fucking nervous.
Yeah, wish I had a West Coast opening date for it.
I know. It's literally gonna make or break the future of the reputation of Imagineering, dude. It's that high of a stakes. Who? Anyways, okay. So yeah, one other note about Adventure Dome, Monkey. You know that the pink glass?
Yeah.
It drove me fucking crazy. It's not just pictures that it shows up in. There is like a pink tinge to literally everything there. And I hated it. I hated being there, genuinely. I could not imagine having to be there for the length of like a kid's birthday party or something. I would fucking go crazy. We were there for
how
maybe...
would you rise it?
What?
How would your eyes adjust when you go into the laser tag?
Oh God,
I
don't think any of that shit was actually working. The laser tag, I don't think was open. I know they have a pirate mini golf, and we walked by it, and it was literally like torn up and in shambles. That was sad to see.
Ooh.
I will say, I think Circus Circus would be really fucking smart to just include SpongeBob with admission to Adventure City.
Right.
I mean, they're not like right next to each other, but they're on the same level. SpongeBob's right around the corner from the Adventure City entrance.
Adventure Dome.
Adventure Dome, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that having SpongeBob there is a ride that you could go on like multiple times would raise the value of the Adventure Dome significantly. That's all I'll say.
You know what else would be nice for Circus Circus to do with SpongeBob? Mention it at all on their website?
Yes. You know what else would be nice for the Circus Circus website? To actually update the hours so they're not reflecting the April hours.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I think it's March. That it's on. All right. So yeah, let's see. Monkey, do you want to ping pong to like one thing that you did on day one, or do you want me to just keep going?
Maybe keep going.
Okay. Just making sure. Just checking. All right. Next thing we did. Well, this technically, technically Circus Circus.
Whatever order you're going in.
Yeah, technically Circus Circus was the last thing we did. This was the first thing we did. The Pinball Hall of Fame. And Monkey, my God, this is the reason why you need to go to Vegas, my dude.
I know about the place. The thing is, and I'm not going to hold you in contempt for this at all, so don't worry on that front.
Okay.
But I know the excess revenue for that place goes to a charity that I really stand against.
Oh.
So if I could know that my money wasn't going to them, that would help a bit. Yeah.
Would you at least go in and like not spend money, but just look at it?
I mean, probably, but then again, you'd like to be there to play pinball games.
Yeah, fuck. That's rough. What if you just no. I was gonna say, what if you just brought the quarters, but no, that still won't work because the quarters would be going into the machines.
Yeah, and again, I don't think it all goes to them, to that one group, but yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. I don't have an easy explanation for that. I mean,
it's not your fault. It's not my fault. It's
you know what also really sucks about that though
what?
Is that the whole time I was there, in the back of my head, I was like, I want to meet the guy who runs this place because I bet they're like super passionate about what they do.
I'm sure.
But yeah, probably not so much nowadays.
It's kind of interesting. Like you look on like Yelp or whatever, and there's recent reviews that are like really not pleased with the staff.
Really? Huh.
Yeah. So I don't know. Okay, so I'm guessing your experience was different.
My experience was that I literally did not notice any staff there. I know there was one guy behind a counter, probably at a snack stand or something. That's it. Like there was no staff presence from what I was aware of.
Interesting.
Okay, I'm sorry. Now I'm curious. Anything in particular?
Like being really hostile to children.
Oh man. I mean, I could kind of see that just because it is a museum. I could see children being rough with the machines, and you want to keep those machines.
Yeah, or even if they're not being that rough.
Right.
Anyway,
I could kind of see that happening. Obviously, I don't justify it. Obviously, you want to be cool about it because, but I could see it happening. I mean, let's face it, people in Vegas, if they're not like directly going for a tip, they're probably going to be a little bit prickly. That's kind of the experience I had.
Yeah.
But God damn it, man.
Yeah, aside from that, it looks so cool.
I'm so fucking frustrated though, because I was about to literally praise the guy who runs it for because he has all these little handwritten history things on some of the machines, and oh man. But you know what? I don't want to dwell on that. And like I said, the one thing that I would definitely change about the place, granted, I'm not sure how feasible this is because a lot of these machines are probably very, very fragile. You don't want to be moving them around a lot. There's a lot of, internal components to them. But I do think the actual layout was a little bit scattershot. I really wish that they could take the time to arrange them into decade. If they did that, the place
does sound like a good move.
If they did that, the place would be fucking immaculate. As it stands now, it was still really cool to explore. But, you had situations where you had ancient pinball machines right next to those shitty all-screen pinball machines that frankly shouldn't even be in the place to begin with. I hate those ones. You know what ones I'm talking about? The more modern ones?
I believe I know what you mean, yeah. The new
I mean, I shouldn't say I hate them, but they're so much less well-designed than the old-school ones, though.
Yeah.
Also...
did you see...
What? Go ahead.
I was going to ask did you see Pinball Circus, that vertical one?
No, I actually asked my friend about it, and they said that it was there at one point, but it is gone now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That is noted in my mind now. Just out of curiosity, for reasons that'll become clear later, do you know if you saw the Who's Tommy pinball?
No, I don't think I did. I did see the Elton John pinball though. That was cool.
Like Captain Fantastic or
Captain
something.
Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe that other old one that's called Tommy, but I know they made one for the musical.
Let's see a few highlights from that place. I saw an old fucking Super Mario Brothers pinball machine that I had not seen since I was a kid at the Santa Cruz Boardwalk. Monkey, the Santa Cruz Boardwalk, I think I've already told you this. It used to have a whole row of classic pinball machines and a whole fucking side area of classic arcade games. And now it's just none of that. It's just all that fucking giant HD phone game shit. And I hate it. That was by far the most disappointing element of my last trip to Santa Cruz.
Now I want a Temple Run pinball game.
Oh my god. But yeah, let's see. That was definitely a highlight. And I also got that machine was also really generous with the extra balls, so I got a lot of playtime on it. Yeah. Let's see, what else? I really liked seeing some of the old school pre-IP pinball machines. That was really cool in its own right. I think the only problem with some of those machines are that the layouts are very similar to each other. There's not as much variety when it comes to the placement of the bumpers and the ramps and stuff. But Monkey, have you ever played...
Before they really had a bunch of ramps and stuff. Even.
Right. But have you ever played one of those old school machines?
Yeah, the ones where it's no music even. Just
right.
Ding, 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 ding.
Okay, tell me that those bumpers aren't the most satisfying thing in the world, though.
It is a nice moment.
Those bumpers are so fucking satisfying to me. Let's see. Another highlight was a whole giant vending machine full of garbage pail kids. I thought that was super cool to have. And
That's wonderful.
I also stumbled upon the South Park pinball machine, which, Monkey, you're going to love this. It gave me the realization that the South Park pinball machine was actually my very first exposure to South Park as a whole when I was a kid.
It might have been mine as well. Yeah,
so there's like all this shit from like the first couple seasons of South Park. I had no idea what the context was behind it.
Yeah, I think the first time I ever heard anything about Kenny being killed was from that machine.
All right. And then finally, let's get to Omega Mart.
Yes.
Monkey, it's everything I hoped it would be and so much more. That's all. It's incredible. It's really incredible. Here's the thing about Omega Mart. If I wasn't there with a friend, I just wouldn't have left. I'm dead ass serious about that. If I wasn't there with a friend, I would have literally taken the time to read every single piece of fucking lore that they have there. And Monkey, it's a lot. There's so much. Holy shit. Like, it literally feels like you're going through a rabbit hole. And what else is that a lot of the stuff is like freeform, just floating around. Like, you'll go to certain desks and stuff, and there will be like full fucking like books and folders and binders full of lore, and you can just pick it up and flip through it. It's insane. I mean, there's like full on, like there's so many phones with like a ton of different numbers that you can dial. There's so much there. There is so much there. And the actual execution of the place, how, you start out in the grocery store and it seems like it's every day, but of course there's weird details in the grocery store. There's weird items in the grocery store. And then you go backstage and things start to get really fucking weird in ways that I don't even want to spoil for you. But then the moment that experience totally hinges on is the moment where you go back out from backstage back into the grocery store and it just hits you in the goddamn face. That moment is spectacular. I mean, it truly is just like a one of a kind. Like, I have never experienced anything like it in any sort of themed environment. It's just, it took my breath away when I turned that corner. I was like, oh, we're back here. Oh, wow. Oh, damn.
I've kind of skimmed some of the stuff from when Theme Park Obsession went there. Yeah, honestly, the Omega Mart, from my understanding, I'm not entirely sure how much it is the sort of thing I'd be interested in, but hey, it could be worth a look.
I will say
I say it could be worth a look as if you weren't just raving about it.
I will say for your certain like anxieties, I don't know how good it would be. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying?
I don't, but you don't have to tell me.
It's like sanitary wise.
Okay.
Like, I'm just saying, like, the phones, I could imagine being an issue for you. Stuff like that, where it's like a million different hands touching it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I could see that.
I'm sure I'd be bringing hand sanitizer along, so.
Right. I don't know, though, man. I mean, I am raving about it, and it is just super duper immersive. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would only judge you a little bit if you went to Vegas and didn't go to it. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Depends how long I'd be there, I guess. But
that's fair. The tricky thing about it is that it is pretty. I mean, it's not like hours away from the strip or anything, but it's like a good 20-minute drive away from the strip. So yeah, it is going to be kind of a pricey Uber ride to get there. That's the only kind of downside to it. Area 15 in general looked really cool. There's other stuff about that. Obviously, we're getting Halloween Horror Nights. I know that's not really your thing, but that's going to be there. I mean, Area 15, like, goddamn, like, if Halloween...
Is there like a zip line in there?
Yes.
There's one thing I specifically remember.
There's a zip line that's also like kind of a coaster. I was kind of debating with my friend if it technically counted as a credit or not. I don't think it quite does, but it's kind of like in that ballpark. Kind of like one of those like Alpine coasters or something where it's like, I don't know, is this a credit? I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see. but yeah, between that, there's also a like a live show there that I really want to see. So yeah, I would definitely like if I were to go back to Vegas, I would definitely spend like a full day at Area 15 from, like doing everything that Omega Mart has to offer to I know that there's also an old school like nostalgic arcade on the second story that we didn't get to see, so I definitely check that out. And I would also go see the show. Like, yeah, I would make a whole fucking day out of it.
Show Mega Mart.
All right. So Monkey, that leads us into your day one.
Yeah, or I'm going to use this time to talk about more some observations from across the trip, save the experiences for their own chapters. But yeah, so I headed out there. On the way, I put on the 2012 Les Mis movie because I spent all of 2023 reading the book at a chapter a day. And, also saw the show in September. So, yeah, now I got to do is like watch the movie. That's kind of been the plan for a good while. So I'm wrapping up Les Mis. I know I'm coming to NY. I'll watch the movie on the flight. That's my plan. See how it feels after doing the book. And I didn't quite realize just how far removed it would feel from doing the book.
Yeah.
Like during the book, I'm recognizing, yeah, there's this thing they did in the movie. Whatever. And yes, I do note the irony of watching that movie, even though my show itinerary wasn't including the Aaron Tveit show nor the Eddie Redmayne show. Yeah, but I got there. What I did was got there in the evening and then 2 full days, and then coming back in the morning or something, which. Get to there, but honestly, doing it like as nice as 5 nights is there, it was kind of nice, especially with times being what they are, to just do a little in out. Like, okay, I'm here, got stuff did, and soon I'll be back home.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I feel that.
But yeah, you got some other stuff to check out. I still was able to walk around, see a bunch of the theaters. Like pass by a bunch of the lobbies, look inside a couple. So many more monitors instead of cast boards now. I don't care for them as much. This is like my equivalent of film projection versus digital projection. But yeah, so like out of the 3 things I saw, only one was an actual board. And let's see, I had time before the first show, like more time than I'd expected. So one of the things I did was peek inside their Margaritaville.
Oh God.
I don't think I wonder if I'd even known it was there before.
I'm not gonna lie.
I was
tempted to go to the Margaritaville in Vegas. I'm not gonna lie.
but yeah, so now I'm here. Oh, it's right by where my first show is. The power of Burbank compels me. I looked in. I saw the giant flip-flop. I got a selfie in front of. I went up the escalator and down the escalator. Got a little glimpse of the Statue of Liberty with the video torch. Took a little look in Bryant Park. Any other things? So one thing that I finally got to see, like, in times I either hadn't known about it or I'd forgotten about it, but this time I made sure to look for it. So at the Lunfontaine Theater, it was the home of Sweeney Todd, but back around 2008 or so, it was the home of The Little Mermaid. That closed after a year or so, but for some reason, maybe it's just difficult to access, but there is still a Little Mermaid banner on the side of the building.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah, kind of like it's like that spot is sort of like an alley. It's right, like there's very little space between that wall and the wall of the next building, but it is still there.
That kind of reminds me of Nick Thriller still being at the Buena Park McDonald's.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that McDonald's is gone now.
What?
Yeah.
No.
I believe so.
That genuinely breaks my heart. That genuinely fucking breaks my heart. That's brutal. That's fucking brutal.
Yeah.
God damn. All right.
Yeah,
Anyways.
not quite as brutal, but I noticed like I didn't end up there this time, but this one McDonald's on like on 8th between 43rd and 44th that it had this awning out front. That was kind of like, oh, there's that thing. It's good to see that thing again. I guess sometime after my previous trip, they redid the front of the building. And then they took the McDonald's out of there and put a new big one where Dwayne Reed used to be. And then now Dwayne Reed is near the Majestic Theater. I didn't end up in either of them this time, but yeah, that's a change in things. I mean, you have other changes of things like, what was it, like the 42nd Street Regal got this lousy redesign inside and kind of outside. Like, it looked better in person, I admit, but it's not better than what was there before. Let's see, what else? I noticed they added some Target on 42nd Street or below 42nd Street. So you go down the escalator into there, you see it spread out, and I'm thinking, this would be a good setting for a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
What other... Did I have other observations? Oh, yeah, I did stop by Theater Circle at one point, this theater store that's near the St. James. I may have mentioned it in the past. Forgive me, there's a little moth that's distracting me. Anyway, but yeah, so I got some stuff there, like the scripts of Chorus Line and Everybody's Talking About Jamie and Sunday in the Park with George, and a DVD of the George Hearn, Angela Lansbury, Sweeney Todd. Yeah, so I was able to read the script of Chorus Line in a room that had a view of the theater Chorus Line was in.
Nice.
Yeah, and so I mention it here to keep up with the observations, whatever not, but yeah, the transit going back home, not fun. And I don't mean in the sense of, I'm going home, like physically.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, part of this is probably on me because the way I did, I wound up sort of staying up all night for like hours with the hope that I'll sleep on the plane. I didn't sleep much on the plane, so that could have factored in as well. So like the taxi ride, I mean, going both ways, but also, yeah, especially going back to the airport. It was like, I feel like that's, I mean, the biggest non-plague, although it intersects with plague, hindrance to me getting back is like, okay, how do I deal with this so I don't have to worry about car sickness and such on future visits? Like, oh yeah, Universal's Magic Bench ride, I can handle that things physically. That's not a problem for me. But New York taxi, yeah, and then the flight back was like long and
boring. Is it specifically New York taxis?
I mean, I think it might also be just kind of a thing I have when I'm not the one driving in general anyway.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and the flight going back was kind of like, this is long, and I'm not really able to sleep much, and I can't keep my eyes open or closed, and my mind is whatever the pictures and words of it there aren't under my control, and oh god, I have to use the goddamn lav twice. That's a place I never go.
Oh god. Yeah, I hate the feeling of like being too tired to like actively focus on anything on a plane, but being uncomfortable enough to not be able to sleep. That's the worst.
Yeah, and of course, with me being much more hesitant to unmask in public, that, like I said, intersects.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so like I get home, I, shower, I get into a spare bedroom, I have like a granola or crackers or something. I think it was a granola. I go to sleep. Like I figure I'm going to take a rest. This is like 2 in the afternoon or something. It was like afternoon. And I pretty much sleep through to the next morning.
I'm not surprised, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, maybe a little in and out, but other in and out of sleep. But yeah, sleep through the next morning. And that helps fuel the feeling that the trip was just a dream. Thanks.
Right. Okay, back to me?
I believe so. Now back to you.
Okay. Little Blue, we're just getting started here. I did go over my thoughts on Omega Mart and Circus though. So if you want to
and
talk
Pinball
about
Museum.
Yeah, and the Pinball Museum. So if you want to talk about
and your arrival.
Yeah. Also, I want to say, remember that issue that I was having on the flight to Phoenix?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where there was like this fucking douche who was I mean, dude, it was literally like, oh my god, I have never seen two strangers actively want to fuck as much as I witnessed there. And I am not kidding, Monkey. You could cut the fucking sexual tension with a goddamn knife. And it was so
fucking sexual tension.
It was so uncomfortable. And they were sitting right in fucking front of me. Oh, I was so fucking uncomfortable. Oh my god. And of course, right when they're landing, the guy's like, oh yeah, I'm in the military. And the girl's like, oh, I love the military. I'm like, oh my god, dude. Fucking hell, fuck this person. I don't know. That's just me. You know, I'm not anti-military per se, but I am very much like, if you're gonna fucking brag about it and be all macho about it, then yeah, kind of fuck you. That's kind of where I lean. I just don't like that kind of machoism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Alrighty. So yeah, let's see. So the second day, I should say. One thing I should say is, just as a quick observation, Monkey, the dining in Vegas fucking sucked. Like,
oh wow.
We did not have a single great meal. We barely even had a good meal.
Woof.
Yeah, like it was awful, genuinely, and the prices were awful. I mean, it was just like, yeah, it was just really bad. So the first night, we end up, my grandma and I, after I got back with my friend, my grandma and I end up going to Mon Ami Gabi, which is like the big, like everyone who stays in Paris says like that's like the flagship restaurant. You gotta go there. I was unimpressed. I really was unimpressed. I got the distinct impression that as soon as we didn't order wine, and frankly, I've had this at a couple other places too, and I fucking hate when people do this, because not everyone fucking drinks alcohol, you know?
No, ditto that.
The waiter just basically wrote us off as soon as we didn't order wine. Like, he barely even checked on us at all. And that fucking right pissed me off, dude. That right pissed me off. Oh my god. One thing I will say about Vegas that's nice is that they have, like, in every restaurant that we went to, they had a person whose specific job it was to just go around and refill drinks, which was very nice. I was never without a refill. And frankly, most of the time, I wish that I could have tipped that person instead of the actual waiter.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, because they were the ones doing all the fucking work, honestly. Oh, man, yeah. I ordered a Caesar salad and a French onion soup. The Caesar salad, I think that's another reason why the waiter was all fucking uppity, is that I didn't order a main course. I'm like, I'm fucking sorry that I ordered 2 appetizers. Jesus Christ. I wasn't that hungry. But the Caesar salad was good. It wasn't the most amazing Caesar salad I've ever had, but it was all right. The French onion soup was genuinely fucking awful, and it was even presented awfully. Like, it looked gross when it arrived on my table. And I assume that this is like a more traditionally French recipe than I was used to, but it was like straight up like sweet. And I could not finish it. But yeah, that was not good. Anyways,
yeah.
I
had a little rough moment with food as well, but we're not on my part, and I forgot it in the last part. So
it's so good. I just want to play a little game of Price is Right with you, all right?
Hi.
And this is just going to be kind of like a litmus test to give you an idea of how bad the prices are in Vegas, okay? So when I got there, the first thing that I bought was I went into the little gift shop thing, and I bought 2 very small desserts. Like, we're not talking full desserts. We're talking like a small slice of pie, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 small desserts, a bottle of water, and a cranberry juice. Guess how much it was?
Okay, let me just do some math here. Let's see. I'm guessing somewhere in the... What did you say? A cranberry what?
A cranberry juice. Just a bottle of cranberry juice.
Cranberry juice. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like... Hold on. Sorry, had a little interruption. I'm guessing like, I don't know, $57.
Okay, no, it's actually a lot lower than that, thank God. $33, but fucking still, dude, if you saw the actual size of these desserts, man. I mean, the drinks in Vegas, when you factor in the fact that everywhere expects you to tip, including just buying a fucking bottle of water, it's a good $8 per drink. Not alcohol, just bottles of water and juice and shit. Yeah. Luckily, I was able to go to the CVS and get a 24-pack of water for like $10, which is still more than I should be paying, but it's better than fucking $8 a bottle, and that got me through the rest of the trip, but still. All right, anyways, really quick, I know I kind of like, so next day, I wake up early, I go to Caesar's Palace, and this was a big one for me. One of the big things that I was looking forward to in this trip was just walking through the casinos and walking through the lobbies and whatnot. I was really looking forward to that. And I will say, Caesar's Palace was like the one time that doing that was actually super engaging to me. I really enjoyed my time in Caesar's Palace. I was there for almost 3 hours because I wanted to see the animatronic show twice. I wanted to just watch it and take it in once and then take pictures of it for the second time. So that's what I did. And obviously the animatronic show, I'm not going to give you any spoilers about it really, but Monkey, it's straight up like it's like a Disney attraction level thing. Like, it's really, really, really well done. Like,
whenever I make it out there, that is the one other thing besides SpongeBob that's a definite must-do for me.
You just got to remember that I'm pretty sure it doesn't run Monday through Wednesday.
Well, yeah, I'd plan around that.
Yeah, just make sure you get that, because it would suck if you went all the way there and it just wasn't running. But yeah. Yeah, holy shit. I mean, obviously I don't want to give you any sort of spoilers or indication of what it's actually like. But man, it's a lot more immersive than I thought it would be. Like, it's a fucking really well done show. Like I said, it's the type of thing where if it was like a standalone attraction in a theme park, it'd be a pretty damn good standalone attraction, honestly. All right. But other than that, I mean, I didn't really see a lot of Caesars that wasn't the Forum shops, but the Forum shops in their own right are pretty spectacular.
How's the tobacco smell in the Forum shops?
Not terrible.
Okay.
From what I remember,
it, like, sort of connects a little to the casino, and then there's some goddamn cigar lounge there, but yeah.
I will say that the tobacco smell just in general, it was the worst in the Horseshoe, which is directly connected to Paris. But Paris, where I was staying, was easily the second worst. I mean, it was, yeah. Oh, yeah. Man.
Yeah, I definitely had to deal with some tobacco and perhaps or pot smells around the streets of New York.
Okay, well, Vegas, pot was just legalized a couple years ago, so that's a huge issue in Vegas now. Huge issue.
How about around SpongeBob? Could you smell it around SpongeBob?
No, because SpongeBob and the Adventure Dome are both on their own floor. Okay. Yeah, so that's good at least.
I just picture SpongeBob with a cigarette, maybe 5 o'clock shadow, complaining to Gary.
Also, with the forum shops, I feel like there's a couple things that really go a long way with the forum shops as far as like the smell. One of them is that it's very open air in there, which definitely helps. Another one is that there's a couple like really big, substantial water features and fountains and stuff that helps as well. But yeah, the fountains. I mean, there's a couple other fountains besides like the one that the animatronic show takes place in, which I guess you would technically call it a fountain. I don't really, to be honest with you, I didn't really look at it all that much when the show wasn't going on. There was definitely water involved, but there's like two other big fountains. And then the entryway into the forum shops. You saw it on my Facebook page. It's the room with all the big staircases and stuff. That was spectacular. That was one of the single coolest rooms that I saw in Vegas, just hands down. The architecture in that room was incredible.
I'm sad because I'm remembering when malls had fountains.
Right. I was definitely thinking of you with that room in particular, with your love of architecture and everything.
Yeah, I mean, from the pictures I've seen, one of them, like the curved escalator sides or something, did kind of remind me of one of the theaters I was in, even though I didn't get to see that particular design element for reasons we'll get to, but, the idea remains.
And I also bought a Wile E. Coyote shirt from a pop culture store there, and I did that specifically in solidarity with Coyote versus Acme.
Hell yeah.
Acme. Yeah. All right, so let's see. After I got back from that, I went ahead and did that on my own because I didn't want to have my grandma being like, trying to chase me all over the place there. So when I got back, my grandma and I went ahead and went to the Bellagio, which was right across the street from Paris. With the Bellagio, it's really funny because it's like, with the fountains, I honestly kind of got desensitized to the fountains a little bit as the trip went on, which I wasn't expecting really. But yeah,
I kind of get it.
Because they were actually like the very last thing I did on the trip was the Mirage Volcano. And then I walked from the Mirage Volcano. I'd obviously seen the fountains before, but I wanted to see them like on that side of the street. And it was like, I was like, I'm really not getting much out of this, to tell you the truth. From the other side of the street, it's probably a little bit better of a show because you get more of it. You know what I mean? And honestly, you don't. I was kind of expecting to feel the mist of the fountains, and you really don't, unfortunately. Let's see. So, yeah, we went into the Bellagio. I gotta tell you, man, the actual interior of the Bellagio was a huge disappointment. It genuinely felt like the back rooms. I mean, it was just endless, long, fancy hallways, and that's really about it. I did see the conservatory, which had an Alice in Wonderland theme going. They switch it up like 5 times a year. The thing with the conservatory, I really wanted to take the time to go and see it on my last night because I knew it wouldn't be as crowded as it was when I saw it. But when I saw it, it was super crowded, and it was a little overwhelming to actually enjoy it. Same thing with the Bellagio lobby with all the glass umbrellas on the ceiling. Really cool to see, but there were just so many people in that space that I really didn't want to linger there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was the dripping chocolate worth it at least? Was that worth seeing?
The dripping chocolate was hella cool to see. I won't lie. That was hella cool to see. What did I even order there? Oh God, what did I order there? Oh, now that's going to drive me crazy because it was like one of the few really good things I had to eat during that trip. Fuck.
Oh, lovely irony.
I think it was a crepe. I want to say it was a crepe. Yeah, it was a crepe. It was a crepe. Crepes are good. Crepes in Vegas are good. That's about it.
Wasn't this also the day you did White Castle?
Was it? Yes, it was. We will get there.
Yeah. We'll get there. Okay, then.
All right. So really quick, we took the shuttle from Bellagio to the Park MGM, and then from the Park MGM, which looked really nice, by the way. I would like to explore that a little bit more. They have this food court called Italy, which is both a
I've heard
fantastic.
of that.
Yeah, and I've heard really good things about it. I wish we would have taken the time to have a meal there. We just didn't have the time. But then across the street, I did New York, New York. And one thing I'll say about New York, New York is that the vibe of the actual casino is a lot cooler than I was expecting it to be. It was probably the second coolest casino to actually be in, apart from Caesars. It has a really cool indoor-outdoor vibe to it. Probably a lot more immersive than the indoor-outdoor vibe in Paris, to tell you the truth. There's just a lot more like individual buildings and stuff, whereas Paris, it's a lot more open. And the food court looked amazing, frankly. The food court was like Monkey, I would be curious. Like, you should look up what's in the food court at some point, and because I'm curious if there's stuff there that's like authentic New York stuff. I don't know, but
I wouldn't be surprised either way.
It looked really good though. But yeah, the roller coaster there, compared to, I will say this, compared to the Circus coasters, that thing is a fucking Rolls Royce. I mean, it's obviously not going to be up to the standards of like a modern coaster. It is a Togo coaster. That being said, it did recently get new restraints, and I will say the restraints went a long way towards it not feeling like a rough ride, because that ride is pretty infamous for being rough, and I really didn't feel that on this thing. Honestly, I just kind of felt like it was a little bit forceless, if anything, which I will take forceless over rough any day of the week.
Right.
I will say that by far the coolest element was the lift hill in the first drop. That was just, it was really cool going up the hill, and the inversions are really wacky. Like, not as rough as I thought they would be, but just really wacky, for lack of a better word.
That upside down into the half loop thing.
Right, yeah. But like I said, it honestly kind of threw me off because it didn't like kick my ass. I was like, oh, damn, I thought that would actually be painful, but it wasn't. I will say that the next time I go to Vegas, I am definitely eyeballing a roller coaster view room
Night ride?
At New York, New York.
Oh, roller coaster view room. Okay.
And yes, also a night ride. I wanted to do it so bad, but I figured, like, you know what? I'll be back here. It'll be another thing to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So after New York, New York, we went across the street, and conveniently enough, I should say that we were using our city pass, or I think it's called Go City in Vegas. Let's see, we used it for a lot of stuff, but frankly, I don't think we'd use it again because most of the stuff that was on it was like kind of cheap.
One and done.
Definitely one and done, and just cheap tourist stuff that we probably wouldn't have done anyways if it hadn't been on our pass.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, for example, the Bellagio Art Gallery, that was cool to see. Like, I enjoyed it for what it was. There were definitely a couple pieces there that spoke to me, but it's not really, I didn't really think it was worth going, all the way. We had a hell of a time trying to find that thing, too, and it was not worth the effort it took to find it. It was one of those things where we literally had given up on trying to find it, and then we just stumbled onto it.
Aw.
So that was funny. Let's see. So yeah, we did Flyover, which is basically, Monkey, this thing is like, I mean, I don't know if you're going to agree with me or not if you actually do it, but for my money, how I felt about it was pretty much like how a spiritual successor to Soarin' Over California should have gone. It was like a better done version of Soarin' Around the World.
Yeah, it's like a thing I'd like to check out, and then your praise for it upgraded it to, okay, that's likely going to be a must-do.
Totally. Yeah, I would highly recommend it. One of the big things that I really liked about it was that, unlike Over the World, they incorporated a lot of, like, actors and dramatic set pieces and stuff like that you would have in Soarin' Over California. But obviously, the footage is a lot more crisp. Also, it was basically like the Utah National Park area that we were going over, which for obvious reasons, that was really exciting to see.
Oh, hell yes. I see your obvious reasons.
Yeah. That was super fucking exciting.
That is
right.
Yeah. I hear it has mist effects.
Yes, it does. It does. Yeah. Good smells too. I would actually wager to say the smells are more prominent than on Soren. Believe it or not. There is one moment that I don't want to spoil for you, but let's just say it's a thrill element to the film that I really think Soren would benefit from having a moment like this. I don't want to spoil exactly what it is, but I was like, oh, damn, that takes like the simulator element of this to the next level. Yeah.
Was it a thing where you chose what movie you were going to do?
No, there's 2 films there, and I believe they rotate them.
Okay.
Yeah, honestly,
and there's like pre-shows as well, yeah?
I do not. I assume that the pre-shows are different. I don't know, though.
I just meant that the fact that there are pre-shows.
Oh, yeah, there are pre-shows, yeah. It's definitely different than the flying theater that we did in Pigeon Forge, though, because there was no like steampunk theme or anything to it. Like the one in Pigeon Forge very much had like a Toothsomes vibe to it with the aesthetic. All right, let's see. So after that, we were like all the way down on like practically the other end of the strip from Paris. And my grandma's like, you know what? Let's walk it. And I'm like, okay, I know that I can do this, but I don't know if you can do this. But let's go. So that was fun. I would say that's by far the longest my grandma walked the whole trip, and it pretty much kicked her ass the rest of the trip after that. So, I don't know why she decided to do that. There was a monorail station that was right fucking there.
Monorail.
Monkey, the monorail's awesome. The monorail's awesome and super convenient, and you don't even have to fucking interact with anyone to get on it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, right? I love how you and I are like collectively excited about that. No, you just buy a ticket from a vending machine. You don't have to interact with anyone. There's nobody on the monorail taking your tickets or anything. And you can just get a fucking 24 or 48 hour pass and just ride that goddamn thing as much as you want. It's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful.
Oh, that lovely, lovely flat rate.
It is by far the best transportation on the strip, like by a country mile. And it is on just one side of the strip, but that being said, it's really, it's not super simple to get across to the other side, but it's simple enough to where you're not going to walk a lot. The only kind of complicated part is that the monorail stations are like way in the back of the casino. And so you're going to have to kind of navigate your way through a casino to get to the other side of the strip. But still, it's very doable. Like, for example, I used the monorail to go to the Mirage, even though it was on the other side of the strip. And that was like, a 5-minute walk to the street. Yeah, I also used the monorail to get to the Strat, and that was like a 10-minute walk through a very sketchy area, but we'll get there. Let's see. So after that, we went to Fremont Street. Fremont Street was fucking crazy. I mean, just like honestly, way more of a party atmosphere than the Strip was, which I was not expecting. The Strip was like much more of like tourist vibes, whereas Fremont was much more like freeform, like party, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I know. I think I understand what you're getting at. Sounds like it could be a lot of fun or anxiety-inducing, depending on the person and the time.
Right? Yes. I do want to go back to Fremont Street at least once, just because when I was there, we were there pretty much exclusively for the Neon Museum and to go see a comedy show that was on our City Pass. So we didn't really have a ton of time for other stuff. But I would really like to check out some of those old school casinos, like the Golden Nugget, stuff like that. I didn't even really get a chance to admire Vegas Vic or anything like that. So I would definitely take more time to see the historical stuff. I would honestly probably just go in the day though, because the nighttime atmosphere is just too much. Let's see. And yes, we did go to White Castle, and White Castle. Monkey, I kid you not, it was genuinely one of the worst meals I've ever had in my goddamn life.
Ooh, cool to know.
I hated it. I really fucking hated it. I mean, here's the thing. The sliders are basically like, they're very similar to McDonald's hamburgers, except smaller, and they're like fucking like weird off-brand McDonald's hamburgers, right? So I
feel like they're cooked on onions that are on the grill.
Yes, and I will say that McDonald's hamburgers, the reason why still to this day I fucking love a good plain McDonald's hamburger with just the onions. Those onions, man, those chopped up onions from McDonald's. Oh, they hit me in a way. Oh my God. The onions at White Castle, not so much. So yeah, it's just like a weird, like, I really just was wishing I was eating McDonald's. That was very much my reaction to White Castle.
Okay, insert all Impractical Jokers White Castle references here, and we're good.
All right, so we went to the comedy show. First of all, we had this was like the closest that I had to having a panic attack outside of that one incident with the line. Oh wait, did I tell you about that one incident where someone cut me in line and I called them out and and the whole line got mad at me for calling them out?
That sounds vaguely familiar.
I don't think I did tell you guys it though, because it was at the
Maybe
airport.
You mentioned it on your main wall or something.
Yeah. Oh, I think I did mention it on my main wall. Yeah. What I'll do with that shit is I'll like post about it just to vent, but then I'll usually take it down after like an hour and be like, never mind.
Never mind. In this case, what's happening in Vegas will stay in Vegas.
Right. Was it in... Yeah, no, it was in Vegas. It wasn't in Phoenix. Yeah. I don't even want to dwell on it. It's just a very shitty feeling when you struggle to stand up for yourself, and then the one time you do, literally everyone in line fucking turns against you because you used the wrong...
Delightful.
I know, right? And it's literally all because of my tone. And I don't want to dwell on it. I could literally just go down a fucking... Yeah, anyways.
Anyway, so comedy show.
Okay, comedy show, yeah. It was a really hard one to find because, first of all, it was on the third level, even though Google Maps had no indication of that when I was trying to look it up on Google Maps. It was one of those things where it's like, it says it's right fucking here! Also, it was in a larger complex, and the complex itself had almost no indication that there was a comedy club inside of it.
Nice job, complex.
Yeah, so that was great. That was wonderful. The comedy show, I'm going to be straight up with you, man. There were a couple people that were like, all right. They gave me a couple good chuckles. But, man, it was definitely the weakest thing that we did the whole trip, I would say. Because, first of all, the MC, she was very much going for hey, I'm a tough New Yorker. Ironically enough, actually, I kind of see the irony in that right now. And it's like, that kind of vibe can be fun if you do it right. But if you don't do it right, you just end up coming off like a grumpy asshole. And that's what this lady was coming off as. And that was uncomfortable. The big thing that these fuckers did that I really didn't appreciate, and you can tell this
interaction.
No, I don't mind interaction at a comedy show. I kind of go in expecting that. But they were basically high pressure about like, hey, where's all the drinks at? Why aren't y'all ordering drinks? Every fucking comic was like that. I'm like, pissed the fuck off with that shit, dude.
Imagine if someone in the audience was like, I'm a recovering alcoholic.
No, but for real, man, that's why it pisses me off when waiters are rude to you because you don't order a drink, or there's a situation like that. Ooh, it fucking gets under my skin. Ooh. I don't know. I mean, like I said, there are a couple people that I found to be relatively funny, but I can't remember a single damn joke. I mean, even that fucking, there's been a couple comedy shows I've gone to where it's not been great, but I'll still like remember some jokes. I did not remember a single joke from this. So yeah, that wasn't great. Then we walked to the Neon Museum, which, it was like a half a mile. I thought we could do it. We probably should have just taken a taxi, not because it was like a terrible walk, just because the area was a little sketchy. especially at night. Not a good idea to walk in that area at night. But the Neon Museum, I am going to say, huge highlight. Huge highlight. I'm not sure if it'd be up your alley or not, but it definitely, like, from a history point of view, it's wonderful. Now, obviously, you want to go there at night. You don't want to go there during the day. You want to go there at night. But, yeah, I just loved it there, man. I don't know what it was. The weather was perfect. I mean, it was just, I just loved it there. I really did. I don't even really know what to say. I feel like it kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be a high priority for me, but it could be cool in person, perhaps.
I wouldn't say it'd be a high priority for you, but I would say if you're planning on going to Fremont Street, then I would do it if you're in the area.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not planning on going to Fremont Street, it is a little out of the way. So I'll say that much.
Yeah.
All right. And then really quick, after we got back to the hotel, I did actually do a couple other things. Most notably, I went to the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Did you see Betty DeVille parachuting off?
Oh my god, no.
How much better would any trip really be if Betty was there?
She would make every trip better, just objectively.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's some moments where it would be a bit tough, but nevertheless.
Quick question. Is the Eiffel Tower the one thing that they reference in that special that actually exists in Vegas?
Could be.
I'm pretty sure it might be.
I mean, I guess, they have the escalators on the street.
Yeah, it's not really. All right.
I know. I'm not saying it definitely counts.
So the thing about the Eiffel Tower and why I think it would be a must-do for you is because of the view of the Bellagio fountains. That was when I really appreciated the Bellagio fountains. Seeing it from that perspective, it was basically like seeing World of Color from the top of the fun wheel. Yeah.
Only this time you can actually do it, because you can't get on the fun wheel the pal around during World of Color.
Fuck. Oh, jeez. That's... that damn thing still has Mickey. Why can't they just fucking call it the fun wheel? Pixar Pal Around is a genuinely awful name. It's a genuinely awful name.
I mean, we got that one bit in a Tony Goldmark vlog out of it, where they're all palling around.
Well, at least it's better than fucking calling the Lucky Cat Cafe Ant Cast Cafe.
But anyway, the Eiffel Tower. So how open air is it up there? Like
very open air.
Okay, so is it like you're at railings or something?
Yeah.
Or glass? Okay, just a little.
Well, there's no glass.
A little conscious after my eye irritating experience at the Empire State Building. Although I'm not sure how. For all I know, maybe Empire State Building was only part of it, but nevertheless.
No, it's basically like you're basically in a cage essentially. But I mean, don't get me wrong. You still the view is still wonderful.
Oh yeah.
And there's little holes that you can look out of to see non-obstructed views too. Yeah. And I mean the view just in general is great, not just the Bellagio fountains. Oh, yeah. The Bellagio fountains are just the highlight there. All right, well that's it for my second day.
Well, didn't you see something that night?
No.
Okay, I thought you saw some sort of Moulin Rouge inspired.
Oh no, you're right. I did. I saw our hotel's cabaret show. It was all right. I don't really have a ton to say about it.
Yeah, so some sort of theatrical thing inspired by the Moulin Rouge. That's another piece of overlap we have.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that show was, it was fine. I don't know. It was fine. It was what it was,
I take it. But yeah.
Yeah.
And, was this May 11th?
It was Thursday. No, Friday.
Okay, so yeah, I have something to bring up when we get to May 11th. But anyway. Okay. So looks
And that
like
was,
we're
I was
getting
going to say, that was by far the most stuff that we did in a single day. So the rest of my days are probably going to go by a little quicker.
yeah. And this one might be the most I have to say about a theater going in, so we'll see how that goes with the other ones. But yeah, so I guess at this point we'll be heading into my show number 1. This one was at the Nederlander Theater. It's one of the things it's known for is like
Sorry.
being.
Sorry. One thing I need to bring up, okay?
Yes.
And this relates to the horrible food.
Okay.
So there's a Bobby Flay burger joint at my hotel, right?
And
I get back from my hotel and I'm like, Grandma, I need to have fucking something other than that White Castle. Like, I really need something other than that White Castle. So I got a blue cheeseburger from Bobby Flay. Monkey.
Blue cheeseburger 500.
You know that show Beat Bobby Flay?
I don't think I do.
Okay, well, Bobby Flay has a game show on the Food Network, and it's called Beat.
Yeah, the
Bobby.
name Bobby Flay rings a bell for some reason.
He's a celebrity chef on the Food Network. He has I'm just going to set this up for a pun. He has a game show called Beat Bobby Flay where people try and like compete against him to cook.
Let me guess, it would be really easy to beat him.
Well, Monkey, Bobby Flay's burger beat me because I woke up at like 5 a.m. with the worst indigestion of my fucking life. And it was to the point where I literally had to wake my grandma up and be like, I need to take a shower or something because I am in pain.
The irony is that you deliberately avoided Heart Attack Grill.
Yes. I did see I walked by Heart Attack Grill, though, and I was like, oh boy, there's where he went.
Again, I just love to see the Rugrats adults go there.
Oh my god. Oh, dude.
That's all I need for Heart Attack Grill in my life.
I imagine Howard would be like the whipping boy in that situation.
Maybe it turns out he's the one who can really handle it.
Oh my god.
He does know his way around a kitchen, so.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's true. He does.
Yeah, just like Stu with that. Maybe Stu and Drew like try to grab the paddles and beat each other.
Oh, okay. That reminds me. One other thing. I hated this. I fucking hated this. So there were these, you know how on the strip there's all these fucking people that are trying to get your money by taking photos with them and everything?
Mm-hmm.
I assume it's probably similar on Times Square.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like other people, yeah.
So there was this group of women who were dressed as like sexy police officers, right? And they had these little whips, and they were literally whipping people as they would walk by.
Bruh, consent.
I was like, no fucking thank you, dude.
Yeah.
No fucking, I want nothing to fucking do with that, dude. Oh, man. Yeah. And I saw them twice. Rude. I saw them on Fremont Street, and then I saw them when I was walking from the Mirage to Bellagio on the last night. And both times I had to like really go out of my way to make sure I was like walking all the way around them. Because like hell, I was going to fucking put up with that shit. Call me a prude. But like, yeah, it's like, it'd be one thing if you got consent. But no, they were fucking full on just doing it to whoever passed by.
I mean, the best thing is I can tie it into Smithers. Because of his licorice whip.
I will say that was the closest thing that I got to the Smithers meme during the trip. I will say that. Surprisingly, I was like all right with that factor for the most part. But yeah.
But yeah, so shall we...
Yeah. I apologize. I didn't realize I had a lot of other stuff.
No, it's good. It's good.
All right.
But yeah, so his first show being at the Nederlander Theater, which Slasher Fred, maybe if you're referring to Honeymoon in Vegas, we kind of acknowledged it earlier, so we're past that. But this is the theater where that musical was. So the Nederlander, what I'm going to be doing here for these shows is talking about the theaters first, then the productions I attended. But yeah, all 3 shows in their theaters I hadn't been in yet, which, as you know, is a deciding factor for me. It's like,
that might be
it's a big reason
I Vegas too, honestly.
Yeah, like it's a reason I didn't get to Back to the Future or Merrily We Roll Along is those were theaters I'd been in the previous time. But anyway, so the Nederlander Theater, it's the southernmost theater of the theater district, way down at 41st. I guess when it was made, it like the theater district was still went down to the 30s and such. So at the time, it would have been a bit more central while stuff was starting to loom north. Now it's pretty southernmost.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I guess per the Untold Stories of Broadway, it was formerly a quote-unquote large multi-level carpenter's shop that also had club rooms, showers, apartments, and a tennis court.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it became a theater, and then they had to add a new fire escape, which is why the fire escape out front looks so different. Let's see. It looks like there were actually a bunch of firsts with this theater that have happened in this venue. Like the first revolving stage on Broadway was there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, one production was both the first time Gower Champion choreographed the show, and it was where Carol Channing had her breakout role, pre-Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. A different show was it was both the first time Hal Prince directed a show, and it was John Cantor's first show. It was, I think, the only one he did without Fred Ebb, or before they'd collaborated, but there's that. Lerner and Lowe's first collaboration was here. Stuff like Inherit the Wind or Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf premiered here. And of course, this was where we had that hugely successful musical about young poor people struggling to get by in NYC, rebelling against the capitalists in power, dreaming of getting to Santa Fe. You know, Newsies.
Wait. Is Santa Fe really a plot point in Newsies?
Yeah.
Oh my god. All right. That's awesome.
Which you can watch on Disney Plus. It wasn't filmed at the Nederlander Theater, but it was filmed at the Hollywood Vintage.
I've still never checked out Newsies.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's where Newsies was. I remember reading something where the choreographer was amazed when he entered the venue, and he was like, God, the boys are going to be dancing this close to the seats?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
But yeah, this was the place where Jonathan Larson broke in with his friend, and he got up on the stage and clapped and barked. And his friend was like, they're going to hear you. Yeah, because the theater was unused at the time, and Larson was like trying to get shows made, and he was like, why won't they let us use it? There's a perfectly good theater. Why won't they let us make our shows?
Fucking Jonathan Larson.
But yeah, I will always be amused, with all due respect, I may always be amused by the cell phone of Rent's producers looking at the Nederlander and being like, this venue is shit. It's perfect for Rent.
Right.
And of course, visually it's been renovated since Rent, so it looks very different in the auditorium.
And I will still maintain that the production of Rent that I saw you in had genuinely more impressive staging than the original Broadway production.
Thanks. But yeah, as far as
staircases, man, those staircases were a fucking inspired design choice.
But yeah, so getting to be in... So yeah, this is the case. Okay, I've been in a theater that's just had a show I've been in. Actually, all three theaters were like this. Oh, this theater has had a show I've been in. All right. At least one. But yeah, so, looking outside, there was this... Walking around, coming around the corner and seeing the red brick of the front of the building. Oh, that was really cool.
Nice.
And my God, the interior of the place, like, that was really cool looking in person. Like, specifically, a lot of the stuff in there seemed taller than I'd expected. Like floor, like wall to ceiling. The mezzanine was a bit.
This sounds very similar to my reaction to Luxor.
Could be, but yeah, it's like, say, these little statuette things on the sides. Those look taller than I expected. The height between, it was like you have the boxes and this like tall curtains above them. Those curtains were taller than I expected. It's like I wasn't that far up in the mezz, but I was only like barely mid, like only technically mid mezz, and those tall curtains made it seem like a long way down to the boxes. Like I said, the waltzing tall. What was it? The proscenium archway that would have had all the mosaics on it during Rent. That looked super tall. And like, it's like, at least my spot still didn't feel far from the stage or whatever. Like, I'm not sure how it would compare at the back of the mezz, but still, But still, yeah, it was pretty cool. Or my God, there was this moment like at Act One ends, blackout, then the lights slowly, the lights fade back on, and it was like the auditorium emerged back out of the darkness. That was neat.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was just for this production or if it's normal, but it did seem a little dim in there. Like not dim, but a little dim. Which, added a bit to the mystique and also kind of with whatever the pre-show sound design was. And yeah, that show in particular was The Who's Tommy.
All right. Yeah, and this is a big one for me, actually, because I was super into The Who's. I honestly, out of the two of them, I love Quadrophenia a lot more than I love Tommy, but I still really like Tommy. I think Tommy's a really interesting.
I think there is some staged version of Quadrophenia. Just maybe never got as high profile productions as Tommy got.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is okay, so this isn't the most important thing for me to start out with. I think it just might be the most entertaining to start out with. What the hell's with all the pedophilia?
In Tommy? Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, I mean, nothing actually happens to Tommy in this production, but like, my God, like we're going through the
original concept album, yeah,
it's like we're going through the Acid Queen scene, which yes, props for calling her the Acid Queen in the cast list instead of the G slur, but the lyrics still had the G slur. Make of that what you will. But yeah, so like we're going through that.
The lyrics.
Yeah, it's still in the lyrics.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
But yeah, we're going through that scene, and I'm like, why the hell are we doing this?
Honestly, Monkey, that's pretty much that's always pretty much been my reaction to that song, even in the album.
Like, I guess, like my guess is that it was showed how far Captain Walker was willing to consider the lengths he was maybe going to.
Right, yeah.
But but anyway, so otherwise, I gotta say, so about a couple of weeks after I booked the trip and like, okay, I know I'm going to be going, got the hotel flights, and I knew I'd be seeing the Who's Tommy. I attend a screening of the Muppets Take Manhattan.
Nice.
Relevant. I get in the car. Usually I have my radio turned off when I'm heading back home, but it's still on for a moment when I start the car up. And it's playing, I believe, My Own Eyes from the original Broadway company of the Who's Tommy. I just got out of a movie about Manhattan, like no one just after booking a trip to Manhattan, and you're playing the first show I'm going to see when I'm back. Hell, the show that was written for the Broadway version. But yeah, so this is my, like, I'd kind of known the general premise of the story going in, but yeah, so this is my first experience.
Bro, I'm like intimately familiar with the album, and I still can't even really give you a good synopsis of that fucking story. Honestly,
I'm sure, like from what I gather, it seems like it's way more clear in the show.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
Like the show, I mean, it also switches the numbers around, but
it's like in the album, it's like, oh, okay, he's a cult leader now. All right.
Yeah, you have maybe some revised lyrics. You have a few little snatches of dialogue.
Oh.
But yeah, and we'll get. But yeah, that is something that okay, just before I get to that, yeah, it is sort of funny. Like some cases where I've listened to moments from the album, and I'm kind of like, I don't know, I think I like the sound of the original cast recording a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Like the voices and orchestrations, tempos, maybe, and yeah, crossing my fingers for a cast recording of this production, so I can, hear the voices I had.
The original album was like made in the '60s, so like
I know
music production and all that.
I know, but maybe also some orchestral choices, but yeah, and I did kind of wonder, oh, what's the history of the audience members in this theater with this piece? Like it definitely felt like. I do believe it felt like a bit of an older crowd. And
it's very, I mean, The Who is very much a boomer band, let's be honest. I love The Who, but they're very much a boomer band.
What, you mean the band from the 60s?
Right, exactly.
But yeah, so it's like, kind of wonder if like,
actually,
there's going to be the album, how is it for them to see the album on stage?
There's going to be a little bit of a tie-in to not directly the Who, but a baby boomer fucking 60s band. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Anyway, but anyway, in terms of the storytelling, that's the big thing I commend about this production is the visual storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, it's a very kinetic production. Like you always have people moving or set pieces moving or the projections doing whatever stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a spot or two where I had difficulty making out lyrics, which is ironic. Because like some of the other actors was like, no, I understand your lyrics fine.
Right, yeah.
But even then, like some old lady in front of me was commenting to her group at intermission about how like how it's an example of what theatrical staging can do. Like she couldn't understand a word of the show. I'm guessing knew the album going in probably, but even then, even if you had a little difficulty there, you could still get what was going on visually.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, which like I said, very much commend. It was like a very go production where it's like there weren't really applause breaks even.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Like I could imagine it happening after Acid Queen, but it didn't. So otherwise, it was just
good.
I mean, just the way that moment, it felt like there was a button there where you could have inserted an applause break.
What about Pinball Wizard?
Yeah, otherwise, Pinball Wizard ends Act 1.
Oh, okay, got it. That makes sense.
Yeah, Acid Queen was right before Pinball Wizard, actually. But yeah, it's like, aside from whenever an act ended, and obviously curtain call, the one sort of applause moment was after the final lyric of the show. Like you still had a little bit of music and one last tableau for them to go into, but yeah, applause after the last lyric of listening to you, and then yeah, dun 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 dun, lights out, applause, curtain call. So let's see. What else did I have to say about? I know I had some things, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like in comparison to the album, there's I won't give it away for the spoilers for the 31-year-old musical based on the 55-year-old album. There's one choice they make in going into the ending that I was surprised to learn is different on the album.
Okay.
It was like a key moment, you could say, that felt like, and honestly, it felt like it kind of tied into listening to you. And I haven't listened to that moment on the album, but
you haven't seen the movie, have you?
I haven't. I've only seen a couple clips of the movie.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I chose not to watch it ahead of time. Otherwise,
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the show's choice is one that I personally found a little more interesting.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe I'll tell you later. But yeah, otherwise, you could go up to an actor from this show, ask them who they play, and in most cases, they would be able to respond, "I'm not Tommy!"
God. I bet you were waiting fucking like weeks to do that.
Maybe months.
Oh my God.
I know I thought of it before I'd even left.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
but yeah. But yeah, so the Who's Tommy, you're home for a cast recording. Glad to see it. Like, I don't know which show of the trip would have been my favorite. That's another similarity to the thing. But at moments I've thought maybe the Who's Tommy might have a slight edge just because of how well the visual storytelling was done.
Nice. All right, back to me then.
Back to you.
Okay, so this was our big Luxor day, mostly for Carrot Top. Carrot Top was like the big. We only did one show that we planned, and then another show that wasn't planned that I'll get to. But man, Carrot Top was we'll get there. Let me just. Yeah.
I'm just picturing The Mummy 1999, but replace Emotep with Carrot Top.
God. All right. So I honestly don't even really remember what we did the first half of the day. What did we do the first half of the day?
What did you do the first half of the day?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I mean, I'm
See,
sure we slept in.
yeah, I'm not seeing anything before Luxor.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm trying to think. I'm just trying to see
Indigestion?
if there's any notable meal or anything that we did. I'm sure we did have a meal. Yeah, well, I don't know. Memory is a fickle bitch, isn't it? All right.
Yeah!
Literally
That's why I
happened a
want
week
that
ago.
Tawny 24 cast recording.
Literally a week ago tonight, and I genuinely can't remember anything before the Luxor. That's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
scary.
hell, you're talking to the guy who, like, there was a moment on this trip where I was trying to remember who the lead actor was on the Andy Griffith show.
God damn. That's awesome. All right. So yeah, I guess we'll just, before we did the Luxor, we did do it's funny because they had two real bodies museums, one at the Luxor and one at the Horseshoe. They also had a King Tut.
There's two of them. That's so extraneous.
What?
That's so extraneous.
Do you know what they are? Have you seen them?
I don't know if it's the exact thing. I mean, I saw your pictures as well, but I remember going to. I don't remember if maybe it was the same kind of deal with a different group or something. But
Yeah, because I was kind of wondering how widespread they were, considering they.
I know
were
I'd seen a bodies exhibit at the California Science Center once,
Okay.
like mid to late 2000s, and I was so bored.
Yeah, it was out of the museums we did, besides the animatronic dinosaur walkthrough that I don't even really want to dwell on because it was so for little kids that I felt embarrassed to even be in there. And that was very much well, it was on our pass and it's right here, so we might as well just do it.
What, bodies or the dinosaur?
Both, honestly.
Yeah.
Ironically, right next to each other. But yeah, bodies. I mean, I don't know, man. It's not my thing. I'm not even really all that glad that I did it. I will say I give them credit for having the ability to skip the fetus room. That thank you for that. Yeah, right. But the funny thing was that
fetus room.
Jesus Christ. Okay, so the funny thing is that we had that bodies on our pass, but not the bodies that was at Luxor. But they have a King Tut museum at Luxor that is on our pass. So that was just weird. But whatever.
Well, how was that museum?
What?
How was that museum?
King Tut? King Tut was my favorite museum of the trip.
Cool.
Besides the Neon Museum, but that's, the Neon Museum hardly counts. No, King Tut was awesome. Basically, like, imagine if you have like a whole museum that has like the same sort of vibe and theme as the IndieQ.
Ooh.
Yeah. Not to mention, it's open air, so you have like the interior of the Luxor over.
Clever.
Yeah, that fucking worked so well. That worked so well. There's a picture of me where I'm just like gazing up at the interior. I think my grandma took that candidly. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely. Here's the thing about the Luxor is that I would highly recommend going there because it's I said that Caesars was the one that really took my breath away, but Luxor really did too. I mean, just walking in there, you know that it's gonna be big scale, but you're not expecting it to be that big scale. I mean, the place just feels absolutely massive when you're in there.
I love it. We went from my unexpectedly big scale to your unexpectedly big scale.
Yeah, exactly. A 60s band is also going to come into it very soon. So yeah, we did King Tut, which was really good, like surprisingly good. Like King Tut is one of those things where if it wasn't on my pass, I definitely wouldn't have done it. But honestly now, like if I found myself back at the Luxor, I might do it again. It was that good. Like I really enjoyed it.
Hooray for discoveries.
Yeah. Let's see. And then my grandmother saw that after Carrot Top, they had a a burlesque striptease type show called Fantasy, the strip's biggest tease. And she was like, you want to go? And I'm like, you know what, Grandma? If I was just here alone, I would absolutely not. But since you asked, yes, I absolutely want to go with you because you asked. And that's fucking awesome that you asked. All right, so Carrot Top was my single favorite thing of the whole trip. He totally lived up to my expectations. Oh my god, he fucking killed it. It's really interesting because it's like, I would say like the first third of his show is the prop stuff. There wasn't as much prop stuff as I was expecting. But I'm fine with that because honestly, I don't really like, as far as he goes, I find him more interesting as a personality than I find his prop humor to be like legitimately funny. So I was fine with like not a ton of prop stuff because most of the show was just sort of comedy and storytelling, which was right up my alley. Like that's kind of exactly what I wanted, and he really delivered on that. I don't know. Carrot Top is just such an interesting guy. And we had front row center seats, like we were right next to him. Fucking awesome. Yeah. Yeah. And then Fantasy was surprisingly well done as well. The one thing I will give a lot of credit for with Fantasy is the MC was just on point with the comedy. Like she really kept the ball rolling with the comedy in between the sexy stuff.
That's good.
Specifically, there was a kid who was there for his 21st birthday, and it was his mother's idea to take him to it, and his mother and father were both there. And the MC just zeroed in on that, and she made that kid like a big part of the actual show. And I fucking loved that because, first of all, it was just hilarious. The kid had like this really deep voice, which was like really unexpected. So that, like the MC definitely mined some comedy from that. And you could just tell on his face, like this is a night he is never going to forget for the rest of his life. So that
I am applauding.
Right. That was awesome to see, man. I love that. There was also this is also kind of in line with the Smithers meme. After the show, they were like, "Oh, stick around in the lobby and you can meet the girls." And I was like, "I'm sure they're very nice, but I'm gonna pass."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, Code Geass, he was not dressed as a carrot. But this is where the tie-in to the Who comes from. All right, because when we get out, we notice that the casino is very crowded. And we see a line, and we're like, what the fuck is this line for? And the line is like going like pretty deep into the actual casino. And it's the line for the
Beatles Cirque?
No. That's on the complete other side of the strip.
Yeah.
It was a Rolling Stones concert had just got out.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'd heard about that.
Yeah. And man, it was a shit show. We stood in line for a full hour to get a cab. A full fucking hour. I will say, though, here's a tip if you ever do go to Vegas. 90% of the time, cabs are going to be a better option than an Uber. And I'll tell you why. It's because there are cab stations in front of every hotel. And unless something like that happens where a big concert just gets out, you are going to get right on. You're not going to have any of that bullshit where you're waiting to get a ride. You're not going to have any of that anxiety about like, oh, I hope that I'm in the right pickup location, or I hope that I actually see the car as it pulls in. No, none of that shit. None of that shit.
Okay, so we both had cab stations on our trips.
Mm-hmm.
Because JFK has those when you leave.
Yeah, that was
a really cute little dog in front of me in the line for that.
Aw. Nice. Yeah, that was genuinely like a really, really that really impressed me about the city was just how efficient the cab service was. All right. Let's see. So
so was this May 11th?
I want to say so. Yes.
Okay, because so it seems like something
Yeah,
like maybe a little southwest of where you were, but in the sort of Vegas-y region.
Oh no.
Did you hear about Bluey Day?
Yes, oh my god, I actually just heard about this not too earlier today. Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, holy
so I
shit.
guess this is the more wholesome this is the more wholesome sequel to you being at Universal Hollywood in 2017.
Right. Well, I mean, the real thing that's kind of like a comparison to that is that some real drama was going down at WDW Magic when I was gone.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't fucking believe that shit when I heard about it. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, your trip created Disneyland. Your trip approved Disneyland Forward. My trip killed OJ.
God.
Okay,
Tokia says you should watch it.
Second while I do a quick little matter in the room. I am returning and I am reinserting my shitty earbuds, and now I am back. So is this a time to switch over?
Yeah, really quick. Just let me address some comments here. Yeah, Little Blue, it's all good. What hotel did your dad stay at? If it was facing the Sphere, I'm guessing it was probably either like maybe the Link. Did he stay at the Link? I don't know. Curious.
The one time I've been in a.
I was just gonna say really quick. You mentioned the Grand Canyon. On my last day, I got to see Bryce and Zion. So stay tuned for that. Go ahead.
Yeah, the one time I've stayed at a hotel in the Vegas area, it wasn't even supposed to happen. It was just because missed a flight connection, and it wasn't even on the Strip. It was like a little down further at South Point. But,
okay.
I did get to drive by the Strip that time, so.
Mm-hmm. Penn and Teller are at the Rio, which I don't think is technically on the Strip. It's like a little down the street from Caesar's Palace.
Yeah.
Anyways. Koki, yes, I have not watched the Knuckles show. All right. Yeah. So, yeah. Back to you.
Yeah, so show number 2 was the same day as the Who's Tommy. So, saw that. Got some takeout from juniors between shows. Take that, eating anxieties in public. I can bring it back to my room, customized, woot woot. But it's better on location, but anyway. So, second show, then, I'd walked around, and then I arrive at the Al Hirschfeld Theater. And this is a theater that's been, like, when I look at the ones I haven't been in yet, this is one that had been on the high end of that. I want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Ironically, it was pretty dressed up in the auditorium for this show, but it was kind of like SpongeBob, where there's still enough elements visible that, like, it's not as much an asterisk as the Great Comet would be. But yeah, so you could still see like some elements and like the ceiling of it, which is real cool. It's like some sort of Moorish pattern things with this fixture hanging down. But also a big appeal for this venue is just it's had a ton of really cool shows play it. Like kind of ironic. I guess it used to be not a popular house, but some of the stuff that's played here includes like the original Iceman Cometh, original Crucible, original version of Leonard Bernstein's Candide. The original Bye Bye Birdie was here. Man of La Mancha, both original and revival. Revival of Dracula with Frank Langella. The original Into the Woods. Guys and Dolls 92. Kiss Me Kate 99. Hair 2009. How to Succeed 2011. A lot of cool stuff in this place.
Nice.
And interestingly, it sounds like it came really close to being Phantom's Theater. But obviously that didn't happen. So what ifs. So let's see, and it's neat, like in the sort of lobby area on the mezzanine level, they have a bunch of artwork lining the wall of Al Hirschfeld art, and a lot of it is stuff that had played in that theater.
Nice.
Yeah. And yeah, they even still have the old name on a box office window thing outside. That'd be funny. How many theaters still have their old names out front? I don't know offhand. Anyway, so the show
there's a restaurant in Petaluma where it's gone through like 3 different names, but there's still a sign, like a pretty prominent sign on the side of the building from like 3 restaurants ago's name, and it's fucking weird. I'm like, when are you going to take that down?
But yeah, so the show I saw here was Moulin Rouge.
I almost fucking saw this in San Francisco.
Yeah, and what was it? Like, I think around that time, like whatever, a couple falls back, the tour came through here, and like my parents got to see it. I chose not to because I was like, I figure I'd rather see the non-downsized physical production if I'm going to see this show.
Makes sense.
Like, yeah, makes sense. And oddly enough, some of the actors from that tour ended up doing the production I saw. At least some of whom were actors I've seen before. But anyway,
hey, Monkey, when you walked away, really quick, when you walked away, did you change your mic out or something?
I'm not sure what happened. Because I seem to be cracking a bit more now. Hold on, let me try something.
Okay.
Is it better now, or
so far so
maybe
good?
I pulled the headphones weird.
Okay.
Might be a little better now. But anyway, so yeah, Moulin Rouge. So yeah, like hell, even like some of the seating is different on Broadway than it would be on tour, because like at the front of the stage, or sort of like at the front of the seating area on Broadway, there's a little catwalk that steps out, and then a sort of passerelle that connects goes around and sort of closes up for the show, because like it's got these little sort of, I guess you could say, sectioned off areas where some people can go sit at actual tables right at the stage edge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And yeah, let me tell you. So I enter the lobby, I go upstairs, the doors to the house have not opened yet. I go to buy some merchandise or something. I turn around, and the door is open, and I'm seeing a whole bunch of red lights and some of the windmill moving.
Oh, shit, really? Oh, damn.
Yeah. Oh, damn, indeed.
Were you like, oh, cool, or were you like, spoilers?
No, I knew what it looked like in there.
Okay.
But yeah, so like I already knew about the windmill.
God damn it, I didn't know there was a windmill in the show.
Yeah.
Obviously.
But yeah, it's like how I knew that it wasn't fully dressed up.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it looked amazing in there.
Nice.
Like, with the lighting and the decor and the music, pre-show music. So funny, like 10 minutes till they tell you to turn off your phones at that point, because they start bringing out actors on stage, like as atmospheric stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I still remember the first fucking Spreckle show I saw was Tarzan, and they did that whole thing during intermission where like they had the people setting up the camp, and then obviously like the start of Act 2 is trashing the camp. I was like, that's a fucking clever use of intermission.
Yeah, so Moulin Rouge. But do I have anything else to say about it? But yeah, Moulin Rouge was a good time. I've only actually sat down and watched the movie once in my life, like back in 2017. Then I wasn't a fan of that, but yeah, the show was a better experience for me. Like, yeah, like you don't have to deal with the editing or some of the choices that the characters make in the movie more in here. Like for instance, the show does not do the "I've paid my horse" scene.
Oh God.
Yeah. Admittedly, like my attention.
I've tried to get through the movie a couple times. I can't. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah,
it's a little. The only Baz Luhrmann movie I've actively enjoyed is Great Gatsby, and that's probably just because I like the source material as much as I do.
Well, let's see. But where was I going with this? But yeah, this was a better experience for me than the movie. I mean, admittedly, my attention span was kind of a bit more depleted by the time the second act started, but for what it's worth, I had been walking around the theater district right before, so maybe that factored in. Yeah, and maybe it would have. I do wonder how it would have been if I'd known more of the songs going in, like what songs they were going to use.
Sure.
Yeah, some kind of need with this is that they worked in more songs, like songs that had come out since the movie's release.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas, like, maybe if I'd recognized more songs, that would have added a little more element of fun, as opposed to, knowing not quite as many.
Man, when it comes
nevertheless,
to modern,
like,
when it comes to me and modern music, I don't.
Huh?
When it comes to me and modern music, I really don't register much. There's not a lot.
I'm talking like all across the music, like however many eras they did, if I'd recognized more. But
right.
I mean, like, obviously, I still would recognize Firework and Chandelier.
Mm-hmm.
Or like when say they work Tonight We Are Young into one of the songs in Act 1 in a notable way, and that appeases me.
You see, literally all three of those songs that you listed, I don't know them. I might know them if I heard them, but I don't know them by the title.
Yeah. One that I'm sure you would know. I'm not going to give it away, and I kind of had it.
No, by all means, give it away. I don't care.
No, this one I do not want to give away. Maybe I'll tell you afterward, but...
Yeah, tell me afterwards. All right. That's fair
for a listening public, I'm not going to give it away, because, like, one where, like, I kind of had it spoiled for me accidentally that it was going to be in the show. I didn't exactly know how it would, but, that it would be there. I wish I hadn't known it would be there. They do a brief snippet of it towards the beginning, and I commend them for doing that. Like, considering the types of, like, let's say it's a meme song.
Oh, okay. Got it. I've got some guesses, but I'll wait till, is it Never Gonna Give You Up?
I'll neither confirm nor deny.
Fair enough.
But,
all right.
Yeah, so let's see. We still had a few members of the original company. Well, two of them had just come back, but yay, original cast members. It's funny. So obviously, in 2016, I saw Aladdin on Broadway. You still had the original Aladdin and Jasmine there. And then when I saw the show, Aladdin,
you had just missed Englehart, right?
Yeah, he was still with the company, but he wasn't at my show.
He wasn't at that production. Yeah, I still remember feeling so bad for you about that.
Yeah, but I'd seen the original Aladdin and Jasmine in that production. Then when it came through LA, I saw the two of them in those roles again, and Prince Abdullah. And then in this one day, the original Aladdin was playing Captain Walker, and then the original Jasmine was Satine.
Oh, that's fucking trippy, dude. That's hilarious. I love that. Oh, boy.
I think the guy playing the lover in Tommy was also in the Broadway ensemble of Aladdin. Yeah, I'm positive he was, but nevertheless. Let's see. Derek Klena, who I'd seen before, I enjoyed his turn as Christian. And I did see the show while Boy George was still in it.
Oh, wow. Holy shit. So, that's a big name.
Yeah. Admittedly, I'm not knowledgeable enough to know if Boy George is one of those cases where you have to wonder, is it ethical to see this person? But in any case, I thought, anyway, in terms of performance, I thought his acting was fine, but the volume could have been a bit better at points.
Uh-huh.
It might have been a thing throughout the production with some of the others as well, but yeah, I most noticed it with him. And then during the encore, they worked in a couple of his songs. So,
I literally only know him for Karma Chameleon. That's it.
Yeah, he did it's funny, I didn't know Karma Chameleon at the time, but so when he did Do You Want to Hurt Me, I recognized that, mostly for the Shrek Karaoke Swamp Dance Party. But yeah, he did do Karma Chameleon for a moment. And let's see. Before we get to this last part, but yes, the lighting is great in this production. It's real cool. Something that I especially was impressed by were the sets, was the scenic design. Because it seemed like they got a ton of locations in there. Like a ton of different places.
Nice.
And when you're looking at it at the like during pre-show, top of show, you're not expecting that. It looks like the stage of the Moulin Rouge, and then, oh wow, we get all these other environments in there.
I love that one that happens with a theater show. I remember I saw a show at Cinnabar in Petaluma where it was set in India, and the stage when you walked in was literally just a shrine, but like the whole thing opened up as the show went on, and there were so many locations. I thought that I love that.
Yeah, try to remember, is Freckles where you saw Eureka Day? Because that's coming to Broadway.
Yes.
Yeah. So well done physically. And let's see. So I don't know why I hadn't thought to put this on a bucket list, but if I had, I can cross off being in the audience of a Broadway performance during a Broadway Cares auction.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah, because I went during like Broadway Cares spring collecting season. Moulin Rouge was the only one that did collecting. Maybe the other two were a bit too new or something, but so they do the speech afterward. You can buy signed stuff for whatever certain amounts. Excuse me 1 sec.
Mm-hmm.
Dang it, come on, Burp, come out, Burp, comma, Burp chameleon or whatever. Anyway, so, and something that some shows have done,
it sounded like you said, "Come on, bird, come." I'm like, what are you doing with a bird in your room, monkey? Should I be concerned?
No, and besides, I didn't get the bird plush until the next day.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
And he's not even in here. I mean, otherwise, a bird in New York, I guess you have, Meg accidentally calling Big Bird.
You have Aquafina as a pigeon.
And that was in New York.
Yeah, that was in New York, yeah.
Yeah. I would love to have heard Queen's audience's reactions to the Queen's joke in that movie.
Oh my God. Right.
Because there is a Jamaica in Queens.
That's funny.
But anyway, so back to the auction. So, I've seen videos of like If Then or Merrily doing this. And so at Moulin Rouge, they were auctioning off. You could, whoever, like a lucky bidder will get to go backstage, meet Boy George, and get his gloves from that performance, which had been signed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know how many bidders there were, like how many people were going for it. It makes the storytelling easier if there were two. Anyway, so it was funny. There was like one point midway through where they joked how, at MJ the musical, it's just one glove, but here we have two.
Vegas also has an MJ show. It's Cirque du Soleil, but still.
Yeah, now this is MJ the musical.
Can I just say, I have next to no desire to actually see Cirque du Soleil in Vegas. It just doesn't look like it'd be my thing.
Yeah. Time allowing, maybe I would see O if I were there.
If I were to see one, it would be that one. Yeah.
I know whenever I eventually make it back to Disney World, I definitely want to see their Cirque show.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, the only one Cirque show I've seen is Lucia, which was a good one. But anyway, so back to the auction. So eventually we get up to someone bid. So let's assume we're at two bidders here. So the second one bids $7,500 and says, I'll take one glove, the other person can get the other glove.
God.
Yeah. That was how kind of them. And yeah, that's what it went at.
Nice.
So yeah, Moulin Rouge at the Al Hirschfeld Theater.
Okay. All right. I want to kind of speed up the pace a little because I do have a 4-hour video that I need to watch that just dropped. A 4-hour video. Okay. I'm not going to spend too much time here. So the next day, we end up. One thing I will say, Monkey, do not fucking bother with the wildlife. Why was I blanking on that word? Wildlife habitat at the Flamingo. It is not fucking worth it. There were about maybe 6 flamingos, Like, legitimately, when I was there, I was I had to make an effort to actually find where the flamingos were, and I was tempted to make like a video where I was like, so eventually you are going to have
flamingos,
right, in your flamingo habitat, right? The big thing about it that really pissed me off, though, is that it was right next to the pool, and the pool was just blaring party music. I'm like, that's shitty for the guests, but that's even shittier for the animals, man.
Oh, makes me sad.
Yeah, that really fucking rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I will be able to provide some Goldblum anecdotes later, probably. But
right. And also because my grandma and I took the time to see, because basically the monorail loop it goes from Horseshoe, which is right next to Paris, to Flamingo. And then Flamingo, it's like a very short ride to the Link, where the high roller Ferris wheel is. But because we decided to get off at the Flamingo to see that fucking wildlife habitat, we ultimately had to choose between me going to the Stratosphere or Grandma and I going on the Ferris wheel, and I chose the Stratosphere. So thanks, fucking wildlife habitat, for ruining my chance to do the Ferris wheel. All right. Yeah. But the Strat. The Strat genuinely was one of the biggest surprises of the trip for me. I will say that the area around it is as bad as you have heard. Like, if you do go there, definitely just get a fucking taxi there. Do not try and walk it like I did. I mean, yeah, it's bad. But the thing that really surprised me about the Strat was how fucking nice the observation deck was.
You said it had really comfortable seats or something.
That Monkey, I swear to God, those couches, dude. Those couches. That was the big selling point of the Strat for me. I wasn't feeling great that day because, I don't know. I think by that point in the trip, all the shitty food had kind of gotten to me. The fact that I hadn't had a good meal had kind of gotten to me. And I was going to go on the 2 rides at the top of the Strat, and I was kind of just hanging out, waiting for them to open. I was tempted to get a drink. I would have loved to get a drink. I'm not a big drinker at all, but, like, I will get a drink if it's, like, at a really cool location like that. But I was like, no, I better not, because if I get a drink, it's going to really fuck with my stomach on the rides. But yeah, that observation deck is just fucking, it's comfortable as all shit, man. I really loved being there. One thing I will say about the Strat, though, that I don't like is that the elevator setup is confusing as fuck. And also, it's like the opposite of the monorail, where there's staff in every elevator, so you're constantly having to deal with staff. And yeah, so basically, like, one level is like, obviously there's the bottom level is obviously the casino and the hotel and everything, and then you go up to the top. The first level at the top is the observation deck. The second level at the top is X Scream, and then also Insanity's up there, but I'm pretty sure Insanity is just not coming back. It was broke. I was
going to ask if they'd physically removed it.
No, it's still there, but I don't even think it's on the website, though. You know what's funny about Insanity, though, is that out of the 3 rides that are up there, most people think it's the most intimidating. I think it's probably the least intimidating of the 3, just from a sheer force point of view, because all it is you're just spinning. You're just spinning. You're not going up. You're not going backwards. You're just spinning.
It is sort of facing down, isn't it?
It is sort of facing down, yeah. That's true. And then the third level is obviously Big Shot. And the thing is, there's no fucking staircases between levels, and each elevator, like, there's one main room of elevators in the middle, and each elevator goes to a different level. Like, there's one elevator for X Scream, there's one elevator for Big Shot, there's one elevator to go back down. You can imagine, that's fucking confusing, dude. That's the one element of it I really hated.
God, it never occurred to me that you couldn't access the rides from the same point.
Nah. I mean, I don't know, man. It's like it kind like honestly, if the cast members weren't in the elevators with you, it'd be less of a big deal. But yeah, it was. That was an element I did not enjoy.
Yeah, I feel like if I were to go there, Big Shot is the only one I could work up the courage to do.
X-Scream. The interesting thing about X-Scream is that this was by far the one that I didn't even, when I went here, I didn't even legitimately know if I could do it or not. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm here. Insanity is down, so why not? I get on it, and of course, the fucking lap bar the seatbelt doesn't come all the way. It's one of those things where the seatbelt's on the lap bar and it connects. And the person was like, well, you'll probably have better luck in the back row, so why don't you just wait a cycle? And so I was like, all right. So I did that. I got the back row. And I will say, X-Scream, it is terrifying the first time that you go down, and I imagine in the front, it's even more terrifying.
Yeah, probably is.
And I was genuinely fucking worried about how scary the backwards would be. But as soon as the backwards happened, and it was like not nearly as fast as the front part, I was like, "Oh, this is chill. I can totally do this. This is nothing." And after that, I was like, "All right, this is fun." So yeah, honestly, Monkey, as long as you get like the back half of the car, I think you could handle X-Scream just fine. Honestly,
interesting.
Just with the knowledge that the backwards part really doesn't feel like anything. The backwards part doesn't even lean over the side of the tower. It just goes back.
I'm not sure the backwards part is what I would be concerned about.
No, the backwards part just goes back onto the loading platform because it kind of loads at an angle.
Precisely.
Yeah. And then Big Shot was fucking awesome. Of course, my whole childhood, I saw all those Travel Channel specials about Big Shot. It was a trip to actually do it, and I got a strip facing seat, which was even better. Fucking awesome! Yeah.
It doesn't have Leopold from Doctor Doom's Fearfall, but I won't hold that against it too much.
I mean, as far as like the actual forces, even just not factoring in the actual location and height of it. It's definitely more intense than Fearfall.
Noted. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that was a strat. After that, I'm going to kind of yada yada through some of this. We did the Twilight Zone pinball, or not pinball. I'm sorry. The Twilight Zone pinball machine is quite good, but the Twilight Zone mini golf. You saw pictures of it, Monkey. I don't really need to go over it all that much. I loved it though. It was a vibe.
Have you done glow-in-the-dark mini golf before?
I think I have, yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually an extended glow-in-the-dark cave section in the Santa Cruz one.
Okay, so so Santa Cruz does have some format of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there was one in Hawaii I got to do a couple or so times. Pretty sure it's gone now.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, the really cool thing about the Twilight Zone mini golf is the fact that they had a live DJ there who was spinning old school, like old timey records. That was
pick a picture if you will.
Yeah, that was cool. It legitimately felt like a flashback to like an 80s arcade or something. Let's see. Yeah, just the iconography is great. You know what? I'm not going to spoil what the final hole is, but it's awesome. Yeah, just all around, just a good time there. All right.
Cool.
And then we decided to go to the fucking Venetian for dinner. And this is one of the most wayward moments of the entire trip for us.
Your use of the word fucking for fucking Venetian is not giving great vibes.
This was mostly my fault, but we got a reservation for not a fancy Italian place, but like an Italian, like kind of like how, you know how in Hollywood studios you have like Mama Melrose. I know you haven't been there, but it's that
I know of Mama Melrose.
Yeah, but it's like that kind of vibe of Italian restaurant. It's not super fancy, but it's So we get to the casino. And I see a sign, and I'm like, the sign says Restaurant Row. And I'm like, okay, let's head towards that. Our restaurant's gotta be there, right? Do you think the restaurant was on? No, it wasn't. And I gotta tell you, Monkey, that straight fucking pissed me off. Like, probably unreasonably pissed me off. Like, I got into a bad fucking mood. I was like, what the fuck? Why is this thing not... Yeah. And so, I will say, I do need to visit the Venetian again, because by the time that we actually got to the real location where this place was, which was right by the gondolas, I couldn't even appreciate the gondolas. I was just fucking... I was just over it at that point. So yeah, that was a shame. And then also the meal that we had was not great. We had... Oh god, there's one moment that was super awkward that I'll tell you about. We just basically split a couple appetizers. They weren't rude about it like they were at Mon Ami Gabi, but it was fine for what it was. The calamari was good, but the calamari also had randomly had peppers in it, like jalapeno peppers, and I was like, why is half of this calamari just jalapeno peppers? That's not good. I don't like that. But the big thing I didn't like about this restaurant was the acoustics in there were fucking awful. Yeah, it was so loud in there. And my grandma and I were seated at this tiny little table in between two groups. It was so bad that I literally had to tell my grandma, look, I can't. My anxiety is sky high right now. I can't even have a conversation with you right now because I am just, this is just super uncomfortable for me. Yeah, it was bad.
It was that at Moulin Rouge, honestly.
Yeah, it was really fucking bad.
And I was on a damn aisle. But then again, more people approached me.
And then a random lady came up to me who wasn't in a staff uniform or anything. It was just a random lady. And she was like, oh, how's the calamari? And Monkey, I totally fucking thought that it was just some random person going to their table, right? And so I was like, yeah, it's all right. It's kind of bland. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll tell the chef that. I'll make a note of it. I'm like, wait, no, please don't. I'm like, it's fine. It is not worth fucking complaining to the chef over. That really fucking threw me off. It wasn't, I totally thought it was just some random person asking me if they should order the calamari. And I was like, it's all right. But she was like, oh, what didn't you like about it? I was like, I don't know. It's a little on the flavorless side. It's all right, though. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'll fucking let the chef know. I'm like, no. It's like I'm already so anxious. You know that cliche of you complain to the chef and the chef comes out and he's all fucking mean about it. It's like I
didn't mention the dirty knife.
Right. It's I did not want that to be me. I practically had to beg that woman, please don't say anything. Oh, man. So, yeah, that fucking threw me off, man. That threw me off really badly. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But then we got home, and the next day we were going to have to wake up at 4:30 to go to Bryce Canyon, and so we will talk about that when we get there. All right, back to you. Please make it quick.
Yes, back to me. So, in the morning, I checked out Rise NY. It opened it's relatively new. It opened a couple of years ago, and it is a mix of museum and Soarin'.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah. So
it's really funny how Soarin' is just becoming just an everyday thing now, isn't it? Because when it first opened, that was the one cutting edge part of California Adventure. Now it's you can see it in pretty much every museum.
Yeah, there's 4 flyover attractions, aren't there?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, well, America has one. But anyway, so yeah, starts off, you're going through it starts off with you entering some sort of subway tunnel recreation. You sit there and they show some movie about the history of New York narrated by Jeff Goldblum. Surprisingly, not that...
Love it.
Well, not that strong a narrator. And then they make it look like you arrive at a subway pulls up and subway doors open and you go through a sort of subway into here's early New York, and then you're kind of passing some exhibits about the history of the place and different elements of it, like say fashion and music and television. So they have like, you know, various fashion outfits from throughout the years, like stuff from music people, like outfits and a Beatles drum cover from a tour they did.
Ooh.
Yeah, other such artifacts. They have recreations of the first Honeymooners set and of the Friends couch and of the Fallon desk. And one thing that I do believe is not a recreation, Oscar the Grouch.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That's
I
cool.
think I sent y'all a picture of it, but... Yeah.
I think you did. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, what's great is that they haven't mechanized so that he pops up out of a trash can, looks around, goes back in.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And then you head towards the sort of ride portion of it, which if you want to go to Rise and Watch, you know what, screw it. I'll still go through some details, like which was they had a bit more than I expected. So like you go into, it's like you're entering, I think it's called Sky Studios or something, Skyline Studios, something.
Mm-hmm.
And you enter there and there's a live actor at a podium like, hey, welcome to Skyline Studios. It's December 31st, 1957. You're going to go up to the observation deck for the ball drop. Our regular elevator is not out of use, but here's this other elevator you can use. And you go into this elevator with little screens for windows. It's the same kind of a similar motion setup to the bank elevator at Universal Florida.
Gotcha.
I hate to admit it, but that Universal bank elevator uses the technology better. But after that, you line up in positions like on this number and color, and then there's a little pre-show on some monitors for the safety instructions with like Robert Trout, the newscaster from Skyline Studios in 1957. You know how I know this isn't a theme park, but you know how there are like some theme park characters are kind of like meme status? I want Robert Trout to become part of that lineup.
I love it.
Yeah, and you go to the observation deck, which is where you board the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and there's like little fake window screens in front of you, which you can see two of them because two tracks, and then it's sort of like you go to the screen like during the ball drop on New Year's Eve 57, 58, and then you go through a clock tower when it gets struck by lightning or something and takes you back to the present. So you're flying around New York. Similar, I guess. And yeah, this is one that also, you know, has some mist effects. Apparently, it seems like there's another level of seating below where I was, which I'm guessing a better view from there, because like from where I was, you could see the full top edge of the screen and the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, otherwise it's a nice little ride, and I don't know how Flyover moves the benches to the screen, but you know, this one did it in a way I didn't quite expect. I'll leave it a surprise for some of them, and then it's kind of nice at the end. You just sit there looking at the screen for a moment, like as the fireworks go in front of the blackness, some Auld Lang Syne playing, and then you return and Mario Lopez welcomes you back.
Random.
I guess it didn't used to be Mario Lopez, but it was him for me. You go through the gift shop. You can exit out onto the Statue of Liberty torch they have out front, but it wasn't available for me because it was like wet from rain or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like, dang, you put a Soarin' ride in Times Square. I appreciate that. Like right across from the Lyceum Theater. And some cool stuff in the museum as well. You know, I'll be curious to see, like, say, how Flyover would compare in terms of, like, Soarin' type rides. And hopefully I'll get to experience Wings Over Washington, see how that compares. But yeah, Rise and Y got that did.
Yeah, it's interesting because like when I did the one at Dollywood, I was like, okay, I appreciate the steampunk stuff. And I would say it's impressive. It's not quite Disney level, but it's impressive for like something that's just at a, you know, basically an outdoor mall. But then
yeah, I mean, this is like just off of Times Square, so
right. But then Flyover was very much like, oh shit, like I think I like this even better than Soarin'.
Yeah. But yeah, kind of like I said, I just love that. Oh, the observation deck is the ride.
Right. All right.
Oscar.
Is that? Do you have another show?
Not really. Oh yeah, I have another show, but
You want
me to do that now and then end on your canyon, or?
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Yeah. Okay, so then that night, in between shows, I got some slice of pizza, which the taste was okay, but the smell didn't do it for me. I fear that's a thing with NY pizza, so hopefully not with all of them.
Yeah, NY pizza, I'm not sure how I'd feel about them. I've heard that they're very cheesy. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it was like the cheese smell that was bothering me.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I know I had that in like one other place as well.
I actually really like when pizzas go a little light on the cheese, honestly. So yeah.
Like Sbarro doesn't have that issue for me, and that's
oh my god,
my style.
Fucking, do you remember my issue with Sbarro?
No. We can get into that another time.
Oh god, man, I had a bad fucking experience with Sbarro. Anyways.
But yeah, so then that evening, the reason that got me to do this trip, to finally do it, to say, dang it, I'll go back, was to see Doubt, this revival of Doubt. First the theater. The Todd Hames Theater, which was just like right by my hotel, like just mere steps away pretty much.
That must have been a good feeling.
Yeah, especially, afterward, like, exit, just go down the street a little.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's the third smallest house on Broadway. I think it was out of commission for a while, like in the late 20th or something, but then around the turn of the millennium, the Roundabout Theater Company got it. It's their flagship theater now. And it is fucking gorgeous in there.
Nice.
Prepare for me to use the word gorgeous a lot. But yeah, the lobby area was really nice looking. This hallway between the lobby and the auditorium, it's called the Knuckle. There's this dome in the ceiling there that was fucking amazing to see in person.
Ooh.
And the auditorium itself, gorgeous. Like, I wish I was like at the backs of the orchestra, so for the most part I had the overhang obstructing a lot of it. But I went down front before the show started, looked around. So cool. Was it downstairs? They had like a Tony nomination for certificates for shows that have played there. But yeah, you look at a place this gorgeous, and then you remember the name it used to have, because Doubt was the first thing in there when it was named the Todd Hames Theater.
I'm worried. Oh god.
Are you ready?
No, but say it anyways.
Yeah, so until earlier this year, it was the American Airlines Theater.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not as bad as I thought it would be, but yeah, that's
Wait, you thought it was going to be? What were you thinking?
Like the Donald Trump Theater or something? Which I will say no. I will say there is a fucking Trump Tower in Vegas, and that
I know
that sucked. That
well, at least in Vegas they renamed the airport.
Oh, it used to be Trump Airport?
No, but it used to be named after someone who turns out was a racist and an anti-Semite and other bigotry.
But yeah, every time I saw that fucking tower in Vegas, I was like, God damn it. Fucking God damn it. Why does that have to be in the skyline? Fuck off.
Yeah.
Right, no, compared to that, American Airlines is just straight up funny.
Yeah, it's just like, it's a corporate sponsorship name.
Right. That's ironically the
American Airlines.
Ironically, the airline that I took.
No, the one I took this time as well, because it was a variable I could use.
And I forgot to mention this. You know this already, but I flew out of gate A24 when I
you did.
Phoenix. That fucking tickled me, man. I will say I was in a really bad mood when I got off the plane because of the military douche, but then the A24 gate thing, that was like kind of the thing that got me out of my funk. I was like, A24, all right.
Nice. But yeah, so I'm taking in just, God, this theater is so amazing. This is one of the best Broadway houses I've seen. Then I sit down and it's not a very wide seat.
Oh,
like no, like very narrow, no arm room. Like,
oh, that sucks.
It's like, the leg room was okay enough, but nevertheless. So, because other than that, if it weren't for that, it would absolutely be one of the best I've been in so far.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah. So, the Doubt revival, I have experience with the show. I did some version of it in college, which was a great experience. And yeah, so that's why I felt so compelled to see this one. Like 10 years later, wow, poetry, it rhymes. And there was like at least one moment where I was flashing back to that moment in my production, like what's the line? Like, I will step outside the church, though the door should slam behind me. I was flashing back to our Aloysius saying it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little funny note on the website. It used to say, refer to Sister Aloysius as the prickly principal, but then at some point it said changed it to the exacting principal. Which, come on, potential recess reference taken away.
Oh,
Rest in peace, Dabney Coleman. Anyway,
just picture Finster in that role, obviously.
I know, how glorious would that be? Like, if I had a line off the top of my head, I'd give it, but
right.
I wouldn't know what it's like to be a man.
All right.
I'm sure there's funnier, but anyway. So this cast is, this exciting announcement. Doubt's going to be on Broadway in a theater I haven't been in, starring Tyne Daly and Liev Schreiber.
So the original from like the original run?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay, my bad.
I mean, one of Flynn's understudies. I mean, the Flynn understudy that role in the original, but otherwise no new cast. Just how cool, Tyne Daly and Liev Schreiber.
Yeah, totally. Schreiber, especially. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then the first preview was like a couple months before I went. They canceled the first preview due to illness in the company. Next day, they were able to go on with the understudy for Tyne Daly going on, Ms. Isabel Keating, who I saw in Turn Off the Dark, oddly enough.
That was your first Broadway trip, right?
Yeah. Next door to that theater. Like literally next door. But anyway, well, I'm sure there's stuff between, but you get the point. So maybe it's the next year. So it's announced, Tyne Daly was hospitalized. She's expected to make a recovery, but she won't be able to do the run.
Mm-hmm.
Which, bummer, but at least I knew in advance. And, still had Schreiber. Like, the only show I saw with understudies was Moulin Rouge. So Keating did the role for a week, and then Amy Ryan took over the role full time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a really big name.
Yep. Yeah. It's funny. I wouldn't know her right offhand.
Yeah, that's funny. I know her name offhand.
I mean, there's stuff I can tell, like, okay, she was in that. She was the wife in Birdman. Okay. But
that's mostly what I know her from. Yeah.
I won't lie. Like, I think I wasn't entirely sure about her performance in her first scene. It felt a bit kind of like, I don't know, vocal patterns, you guess?
Yeah.
Like same deliveries. Either she got better or I got used to it afterwards.
No.
Yeah, so Sister Aloy, and then you also had Zoe Kazan as Sister James. And so yeah, I should check out her movie at some point. And then Quincy Tyler Bernstein as Mrs. Muller. For some reason, Zoe Kazan's the only one of the four who didn't get a Tony nom. But anyway. But yeah, so yeah, we still had Liev Schreiber. It's a nice production, no doubt. The set I quite liked. Like, it had this big unit that was Sister Aloysius' office. It would come forward down center, and then at times it would spin around, and the wall would be where the garden is. Yeah, the set was good. I think it should have been nominated for set. And where was I going with this? And yeah, something I particularly wondered about was, again, what's the audience's history with this piece? Like, how many people were experiencing it for the first time? Mm-hmm. Because you get to a key line at the end, and there were definitely several audible gasps.
Nice.
Yeah. It wasn't. They sold the script of the play there, so it's like, I can read the foreword in here before the play begins.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, so Doubt was did.
All right. Do you have any like final notes on the trip? Because I want to wrap up my shit pretty quickly.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been great to see like Sweeney or Back to the Future or Merrily or Appropriate or in hindsight, The Heart of Rock and Roll. But, this trip generally went well. There was a tough spot or two, like I know, like late evening, like one something I got really stressed about how to get Five Guys, but whatever. That ended up I ended up pulling that off, and it turns out I kind of dug the vibe of 1 a.m. 42nd Street Five Guys.
Nice.
But anyway, so aside from like the transit back home, generally it went well. I feel like whenever I get back, it's really going to depend on what's playing and I guess where. Like City Center Encores is going to do Urinetown next year, so if that transfers to Broadway, I may feel sufficiently compelled. I know She, He, and Me is aiming for Broadway, so if and when that happens, I might feel obligated to see that one because of a personal history with it. But anyway, so yeah, I got back, I did it, and that's 3 other theaters off the list with some nice shows.
Whew, all right. Well, I'm going to kind of speed run this last part. We did a combination Bryce Canyon and Zion National Park bus trip for our last day. It was like the big thing on our city pass. It was mostly why we got the city pass.
So you did Vegas, you did mini golf, you did Canyon. It's the Rugrats Vacation VHS trifecta.
Oh my God, you're absolutely right.
And before anyone points out that it was the Grand Canyon for Rugrats, they never actually made it to the Grand Canyon.
And you know what? From everything I've heard about how touristy the Grand Canyon has become, I think I would vastly prefer Bryce anyways. But, yeah.
Interesting.
So Bryce Canyon. I before this trip, I wasn't really a national park fan. Or I should say I like them, but it wasn't like really something that I would actively plan a trip around, right? Like there's some nice redwood parks kind of near where I live. There's Armstrong Woods. I've been to Yosemite once. I like them. But Bryce Canyon was one of those ones where obviously because of the Big Thunder connection, it was on my bucket list to see it. So the bus ride, I will say the tour guide was very nice. Really had a keen kind of like knowledge on when to crack jokes, when to shut up, when to talk. You know what I mean? I felt like she was very professional in that way. I felt bad though because like the tour group was just not into it. Like she'd get back on the bus. She'd be like, "How was Bryce Canyon?" And there'd be like nothing. And I think it was all just because they were tired. Like that's why I didn't really respond. But still, I felt kind of bad for her. There was a super fucking obnoxious couple that was sitting right across from my grandma and I on the bus. Monkey, I swear to God, at one point when we pulled over at Zion to take pictures of this one mountain, these fucking absolute fucking morons decided to start taking pictures in the middle of the goddamn road. The middle of the fucking road. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And this isn't just like a couple quick shots. We're talking like a straight up Instagram fucking photo shoot. And yes, Monkey, these are the people that my grandma later made a racist about. Like, obviously doesn't matter that they're any race at all, but yeah, they were fucking obnoxious.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, man. I straight up, that was one of the most rude things I have ever fucking seen in my goddamn life. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. So yeah, that was a little bit rough to deal with that. Like, and for them to be for them to be right by us. So really quickly, just to go by, Bryce Canyon, next time I go to Vegas, I think I'm already pretty locked into this plan with my dad. We're going to stay on the Strip for maybe 1 or 2 nights. And then we're going to use the same tour bus company that we used for this trip because we found out that they do this. They will drop us off at Bryce Canyon for like 2 days. And I need to fucking see all of it, Monkey, because let me tell you, seeing Bryce Canyon in person it didn't even fucking feel real. It didn't even look like it was real. It was that beautiful. That's the only way I can describe it.
It wasn't real. They just put up a matte painting.
Oh my god. No, it was incredible, dude.
Yeah.
But, you know, of course, you only have 2 hours, and it's like you're thinking, like, the whole... I want to hike as much of it as I can, but I didn't get very far because you're thinking, like, well, every step that I hike, I'm going to have to hike back, and I'm going to have to take that into account. Obviously, I don't want to miss the bus, you know? I need to fucking hike that whole goddamn thing. I need to hike every inch of that place. I need to. Like... I feel that on like a deep, almost spiritual level. I need to hike that fucking place. I need to go all the way down into the canyons. I need to fucking hike that whole place. I need to. Yeah, it left a big impression on me. It truly did. Seeing the hoodoos in person, fucking surreal. Obviously, you know, inspired Big Thunder Mountain. Zion was really cool. I will say this much. Zion looks a lot more intimidating for a hike than Bryce Canyon does. I would basically describe it as like Bryce Canyon is Disneyland, Zion is Walt Disney World. You know what I mean? Whereas like you could spend like 2 weeks, like you could stay 3 days at Bryce Canyon and see every inch of it. But at Zion, you could stay for 2 weeks and still not even begin to see all of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, Zion doesn't, like, it's cool. It's definitely bigger scale than Bryce. It just didn't appeal to me in the same way that Bryce did. I liked it. By far the coolest part was just driving through it. There's this one cave that you drive by, and there's, like, these really dramatic, like, man-made windows carved into the cave that look out into the canyon. That was really memorable. But by and large, it was just, it was all right. We didn't get out and hike it like we did Zion. We just got out to do a couple, like, little photo ops, and that's where, you know, that's where the fucking photos on the side of the road were. So, yeah. Obviously, I mean, I don't know. I'd like to maybe eventually try and hike a part of Zion, but definitely Bryce Canyon first. The one part of Zion I would really like to hike is the one where it's like there's this one trail that it's like literally like just a big rock and you have to use a rope to kind of climb up it. Like that I would like.
It was a big rock.
But Bryce, like, yeah, Bryce is very much, oh man, like I still can't stop thinking about it, how much I want to just go and just explore every crevice of it. Yeah. Okay, so we get back to Vegas around 7:00. We decided, okay, here's another Price is Right thing, Monkey, all right?
Okay.
2 crepes. No, I'm sorry, 3 crepes. 3 crepes.
Okay, 3 crepes. 39?
$85. Yeah. Yeah. I shit you not, dude. I shit you not.
Fancy crepes or something?
They did have like berries and shit in them, yes, but like not $85 berries. The berries weren't made of gold. So here's the thing.
To know how they compare to the crepes at City Walk Hollywood. I've never had either, but you know.
So here's the thing. They were good crepes, and my grandma and I, we were like really having a hard time deciding what to eat. I was like, I really wanted to like try to have a good meal, but we had had such bad luck that I was like just kind of over it at that point, and I didn't really want to spend a lot of money. So I was like, you know what? There's that crepe window that's right by our hotel. Let's just go there.
That much out a window.
It was a window in the casino.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that price at a window. I mean, I guess if it's still from the establishment, but nevertheless.
No, yeah, for sure. So yeah, that was ridiculous. But really quick, the last thing I did, like I said, was take the monorail. I already kind of went over the Bellagio and stuff. That's not important, but the Mirage. I ended on the Mirage. I kind of intentionally ended on the Mirage volcano. And I'm glad I did, because that was a really memorable kind of last beat to the trip.
Good.
And obviously that thing is not going to be there for much longer. I'm actually kind of surprised they're still running the volcano show with how close it is to just shutting down. And Monkey, that volcano show, holy shit. I mean, obviously you're not going to get a chance to see it, but let me just say, when I got there, I didn't even have time to like get across the street. So I saw it from the other side of the street, which I thought was going to be disappointing. But I'm actually glad that I was on the other side of the street because the heat from those flames was so intense that I didn't just feel it from the side of the street. I was like a little bit bothered by it from the side of the street. I would be straight up uncomfortable if I was right next to it, right? Yeah, I mean, the sound design is really cool. Like about 5 minutes before it starts, all this ambient rainforest noise starts playing all over the strip, which is really cool. And the actual fireballs are super impressive. I mean, just like we're talking like 40, 50 feet in the air, multiple ones at the same time. It's a pretty short show, but goddamn is it memorable. And I am very glad that I fucking did it as the last thing of the trip. It was a really, really cool highlight to go out on. Yeah.
I guess now you'll have to go to the Vegas Rainforest Cafe for the volcano.
Monkey, I was so fucking tempted to go. You don't even know. We were close. We were fucking close, dude. You don't even know how close we were. I was so tempted. Yeah,
you go either there for the volcano dessert, or you go to Margaritaville where you hear them sing volcano. Or play
I don't. That Margaritaville might have a volcano. I don't know, like an actual like physical volcano.
Maybe. I remember the one at City Walk Orlando did.
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah, the one at City Walk Orlando is like one of the flagship ones.
I think that's the only one I've actually been in, not counting my venture into the New York one.
It's the only one I've been in too, I think. But you know the one I really want to go to?
Canada? Niagara Falls?
Yep, Niagara Falls. Holy shit.
That could be nice. Get there someday.
I wouldn't mind going to Niagara Falls one day.
Maybe the Frankenstein rooftop coaster.
Oh, I forgot about that.
And the falls, of course.
All right. So yeah, that's about it, folks. I didn't anticipate this going 3 hours. Monkey, this is the first 3-hour podcast I've done in a while, man.
Well, in any case, I have one ultimate point before we sign off.
Yeah, go ahead, sure.
In any case, however well our trips went, we both lost, because neither of us got to experience Smelephants on parade.
Have a good night.